It is Saturday, March 23rd, 2019. My name's Anthony, and I'm here with Michael, and this is TimeLaps, the podcast where cars and watches are the focus, but tangents are often the reality. Let's get into it. Hello.
Hello there.
Good morning.
And I just want to say something before we get started. I did that entire intro without the use of a book. It only took me 38 episodes to memorize it fully. So I'm very, very proud of myself.
Good job, Anthony.
Of course, your hosts here, Anthony and
Michael.
it's okay, a little bit more enthusiasm. And you guys may not recognize the face, but you'll definitely recognize the voice.
That's what I was gonna
and
say.
the stubborn opinions. Victor, who we've had on the podcast before. Round
Thank
of
you for
applause.
having me back after my last episode. It was fantastic. This one
Yeah.
should be great as well.
I think you are our most consistent follower, listener, supporter.
I definitely am.
You're the only one who's ever asked me for time-lapse swag, so that means something.
Ooh, I totally forgot. I was going to do that and I
Yeah.
forgot.
I was
Sorry.
supposed to print a shirt and I forgot.
It's
But
okay,
I
it's
want
okay.
my time-lapse swag.
It's coming.
please.
I want to
It's
wear
gonna come.
because we're actually part of an adult karting league, not erotic in any way, but like a go-karting league for grown-ups. And I think I should start wearing like a time-lapse shirt to the karting league, and then talk. These
I
guys
think
are
we
clearly
We'll get
should.
some
racing.
I
decals
think
for
we
your
should-
white helmet.
Yeah.
I think we should all wear one and be like a team.
right? Oh my
Time-lapse
god,
team.
TL.
Speaking of
The
this,
time-lapse.
That's actually a good idea. I
Yeah.
want to do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're definitely
right,
gonna
we'll do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what were you gonna say?
Speaking of this go-karting
Mhm.
group you guys are part of, this adult go-karting club. How is that? How is it?
Many people guffaw at that, but it's actually
It is
a legitimate
really fun.
league.
Yeah.
And it's very fun.
How many
yeah.
people are involved?
There's 21 showed up to the first
Oh,
race
wow.
on Wednesday,
Yeah.
but I think they said there's 24 total. So
And you all race at once, or they're
No.
heats?
heats 7 each, but depending on the numbers, right? They said the most they can put on the track at once is 11 to make
Okay.
to keep it competitive.
And how do they determine who goes with who? Like just luck of the draw, or
So it's actually 7 cars per session. So
Okay.
we all qualify, 2 qualifiers, 2 15 lap qualifiers.
Yeah.
And then it breaks it down into 3 groups. So the fastest 7, then the second
okay,
fastest
so they try
7,
and keep it
and then the
comparable.
third fastest 7.
Yeah.
So it'll be tier 1, tier 2, tier 3.
right.
Much to my chagrin, I was in tier 2 last time, which was
Where was
I was-
Mr. Anthony?
Anthony was in a lowly tier 3.
I was the best of the rest, okay, or the best of the rest of the rest
Yeah.
in this case.
To quote Ricky Bobby, if you're not first, you're last.
I
So
was
anyway,
second in my
Fair
heat.
enough.
He was not even.
I was second.
Close.
So then, do eventually they come together like, for
No.
a final race, or it just stays 1, 2, and 3?
So the points system works. It's 21 for first place for 21 points, and
Yeah.
it goes down
Mhm.
to,
Oh, okay.
to the last.
Okay.
And so we never race together. It's
Right.
always tier 1, tier 2, tier 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Um,
you and Anthony will never race together because you'll be
Well,
at the top. and
Well,
Anthony-
we'll
get
see.
better.
We'll see. I mean, my best time was his slowest time through the entire race that we had.
Okay.
So maybe one day I might climb
Maybe
the
we
ranks.
should plug K1.
Yeah, K1. Is it K1 Speed?
K1 Speed, yeah.
K1 Speed. They're located inside of Downsview Park. That is in it's Kiel and Shepherd area,
Yeah, yeah.
in just north of Toronto there. Great place. Electric carts, which a lot of people like, but they're actually a lot of fun. Instant torque and
Very
they're new, so they
Very professionally run. Everything
Yeah.
is very organized. It's clean. It's safe. It's
Mhm.
it's a very, very nice facility.
great place. Like kids can have fun, and so can
Yeah.
adults. So we
Yeah.
really enjoyed our time there, and very excited for our next race on Wednesday. I do want to tell a quick story about Victor here. Vic obviously is a very competitive guy, and I'm not sure how, but he got his girlfriend to come with him to the karting event and act as his pit crew of sorts. So
So
I'll tell the story just because I want to make sure people understand how hilarious it looks. But anyway, they have a TV showing the laps. And
Right,
sorry
yeah.
about my house phone ringing in the background there. They have a TV showing your lap times, and it's constantly updated. It's like watching a
real
live
time,
race.
yeah.
So Victor's girlfriend would watch while on Bluetooth headphones with Vic, who's in the cart, and tell him what his gap was and keep him informed of race stats, which is like super helpful and helps him, strategize while on the track. So I'm watching all this, and it's obviously pretty funny. I go over to the bar to get a couple beers for me and my other friend Dan, and the bartender turns to me and goes, "That Victor guy, he's a genius." I'm like, "Oh, wow, yeah."
So shout out
Clearly.
to Lucy. She was my pit crew on the pit wall for me. Her instructions were fantastic during the race and in qualifying. Helped me out a lot. And now she's obligated to come to every race,
Exactly.
much to her chagrin.
Yeah. Chagrin. Second chagrin of the podcast.
Second chagrin of the podcast.
And, just to expand our lexicon here, you may notice that Victor is of a darker skin tone. He is Southern Italian. I have a proclivity for Southern Italian friends. Shout out to Joe Sirocco. Sorry, I just wanted to say proclivity.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
I don't have as many Calabrese stories as Joe Sirocco, unfortunately.
Well, that's Joe's bread and butter. He
Yeah.
really did, he's into the Italian culture and he's very opinionated on it. I wish I could get my dog right now and just give him a whole bunch of kisses. You know what? You guys keep going. I'm gonna go bring him down here.
It's good.
I'm gonna bring him down here.
Oh, yeah?
I'm gonna put him on camera. Here, give me 1 sec.
We can pause. We'll pause.
So here's the pup. In case anyone who's watching is wondering, he's a Morkie, and they are hilarious. They are also very, very annoying dogs, but you know what? You just can't help but love them. So hopefully he'll be quiet in my arms now. But yeah, so go-karting success. We're excited for next Wednesday when we head back there.
Actually, I have a lot of karting coming up. I have Monday night karting at
Oh,
401 Mini Indy. Shout out
okay.
to 401 Mini Indy. Shout out to Drive Tech.
Yes. Yeah.
And then Wednesday.
Mhm.
So a lot of go-karting coming up.
Cool. It's going to be
Yeah.
a fun time. Now, karting, maybe scoffed at by a lot of people, but it is a pretty, natural form of racing,
Mhm.
right? It's you and an underpowered machine flinging yourself around a track. That's the what would you call it, evolution into Formula One, and a lot of stuff happening in Formula One. I'm going to start it off by saying, if you guys have listened to the podcast before, you probably know that I'm not the biggest Formula One fan. You guys always have known more than me about Formula One. Sorry, I'm actually just gonna put him down. He doesn't do so well on the table. But recently Netflix came out with that documentary.
Yeah.
Following the last season, the 2018 season of Formula One, and they dramatized it very, very well. Being someone sort of on the outside, I didn't even know who all the drivers were. I would sort of just use Mikey as my reference to understand more about the sport. I learned a hell of a lot in 10 episodes.
It's a fantastic series.
I think they also needed that to keep the sport alive, because after the whole, leaving the V8s, bringing in the new engines, and they're twin turbo 6s now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Liberty Media, who took over Formula One a couple of years ago, their main goal is to bring fans back to F1. And doing things like this on Netflix is like NASCAR-ish, because NASCAR is very fan-friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And this series is now going to bring people in who have no idea about Formula One and now make them watch Formula One. And even me, I'm not really a mid-grid type of a person. I like to watch Hamilton and Vettel duke it out. But even me, now I'm more interested in the mid-grid only because I watched the Netflix series.
Yeah.
And I watched all of last season. And even for me watching it now all over again, it's very dramatic, very interesting to watch.
I think you actually said the same thing.
Yeah.
Watched, you followed the season fully, but now,
it gives you a different perspective.
100%.
Yeah,
and some of the
definitely.
shots they get are incredible.
Yeah, really good.
Liberty Media Group, I'm sure they were the ones behind this, did a fantastic job capturing the drama behind the scenes in the pits. It's a really high emotion sport, and that really comes through in the series. So I'm hooked. I watched the first race. Never have done that before since I've.
It's a hard one
been
to
alive.
watch live.
Oh yeah. No, I recorded.
I don't think
in the
I think
morning
I've
in
watched
Australia.
it once or twice live. Every other time, just record it for the next morning.
Definitely.
Avoid your
I-
phone at all costs because
Mhm.
it'll tell you who
Mhm.
won. But
Yeah, no, I never watch live. I record. I can't stay up.
So I want to ask you guys, now that Australia is done, do we have a race tomorrow?
no, next week.
Next
Bahrain.
week. So now that Australia is done, what are your thoughts on that race and, of course, the upcoming 2019 F1 season?
Go ahead. You can start.
I mean, it's not a surprise that Mercedes won.
Mm-hmm.
By the time they won, they're acting like their 30-second advantage was a surprise, but I don't think so. I mean, Ferrari showed some promise in the preseason, but nobody is close to Mercedes F1.
They didn't have. They had no. Vettel especially had no pace at all.
Vettel had
Yeah.
no pace at all. He even said it in the post race interview. He said we were slow and we didn't understand why we were so slow. I mean, they got passed by Honda.
Yeah.
F1. They got passed by Honda. Now, not to put down Honda, but they've been struggling in the last 3 years. And for a team like Ferrari to be passed by Honda is disgraceful.
I think that the title, right? If there's an article about Australia 2019, it's going to be like Verstappen and Honda.
Yes.
Right? That's the
highlight
incredible
of the race.
to see him, make it to podium with a new engine in a car. Obviously, Ricciardo's not there anymore. He's the top dog now at Red Bull. Gasly didn't do so well, but also his first race on that team. I don't know because again, I'm just getting into Formula One now, but it seems from the 2018 to 2019 season, the grid completely changed. Is that normal?
There's a lot of movement in teams as well, so that makes a difference.
But do they do that often?
Change teams like that, like a lot of races?
Mm-hmm.
Not really. I don't think so.
Big names
not
too.
To this
not
scale.
not just like no names.
Ricciardo was probably the biggest name that moved.
What about Kimi?
Yeah, but
he's
Kimi's
old.
within Ferrari though.
Yeah,
Ferrari and Alfa.
Yeah,
are the same
exactly.
thing.
Yeah,
They wanted Leclerc.
Sauber, right?
They wanted Leclerc into the Ferrari car because of the whole backstory with his uncle that died.
And I can't believe I'm forgetting the name.
Escapes me now. He died 3 years ago in the Chinese Grand Prix.
Yeah, which was awful. I totally forgot about that.
Anyway,
yeah.
So they wanted him in the Ferrari seat, and again, Kimi is older, but he's still a fantastic race car driver. And putting him in an Alpha is Ferrari as well. It's just the B team. It's like Toro Rosso and Red Bull. Yeah, it's the B team.
What happened to Renault? I was hearing as much hype as there was around Ferrari after testing that they had a very competitive car. I remember watching the series. Renault promised Ricciardo that they were going to be able to bring him a championship.
He kind of got
a proper car.
screwed up on his own at the beginning there.
Okay, well that was bad.
So
but even their other car, what happened to who's their other driver?
I don't even know.
Oh my gosh.
They didn't keep anyone.
I have a blank right now.
Yeah,
but Renault is not touted to do well this year. Even Ricciardo knows that. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, he made a mistake going to Renault. Renault's probably a couple years away from being competitive.
You think so?
They've never had a handle on this V6 from the first day that it was put out. In fact, the first day of testing with the V6, it was terrible. It overheated. It had no power, and they're still climbing back.
Yeah.
And watching the series on Netflix, you know that Christian Horner, which runs Red Bull, and the head of Renault, have been in like a semi-feud over this engine. Yeah. And I think Renault really wanted to stick it to Red Bull by grabbing
He had to go somewhere. He couldn't stay at Red Bull, I don't think, because Verstappen is almost overshadowing him. He's so young. He's good. He has a lot of potential. I think Ricciardo had, in order to save his career, had to go somewhere.
For sure. I would say Verstappen not a lot of other people driving like him. He takes
very aggressive.
Yeah, he's aggressive.
He's calmed down a lot.
Yes.
Verstappen's the future of the sport.
You think so?
Yeah. Hamilton's older now.
Well,
he's like
he does
mid-30s.
represent the best young driver on the grid, right?
Verstappen, definitely.
Yeah.
But Leclerc is going to be there too.
Yeah.
Leclerc, if they can get that Ferrari to perform at any type of level, he is going to be just as fast or faster.
He could have passed Vettel.
Yeah.
They definitely told him to hold back.
He
had pace over him.
They, in fact, told him to stay behind Vettel.
Yeah.
They said because the team is built.
He can't overshadow him. Vettel.
Not yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Not yet.
So is that more to do with seniority or actual performance, like race proven performance?
Potential and seniority, I guess. Yeah. Because again, his car wasn't performing like it should.
Yeah.
And obviously Vettel is a world champion. But yeah, no, they do that. Even with Verstappen and Ricciardo last year, they would tell him to hold back and.
There's always a number one driver and a secondary driver.
Oh, of course.
And Leclerc is the future of Ferrari. In my opinion, I love Vettel, but last year he made a lot of errors. You know, he cost himself the championship and Ferrari the championship.
Yeah.
So. I think in the world of fandom, Vettel has lost a lot of ground in the eyes of fans because people equate Ferrari with performance and not making so many mistakes. I think like when you think back to the great drivers from Ferrari, Schumacher, that's the only one I know. But you don't often equate them with their best driver making many mistakes, and that's one thing. Even being on the outside of Formula One when those mistakes were happening, I had always heard about. People were very upset with his driving and what he was doing.
Well, I think Ferrari has been. I will accuse them right here, right now, of resting on their laurels and resting on that Ferrari badge and selling merchandise and making Ferrari a brand. I mean, I don't think they can do that anymore. When Schumacher was running that place with Ross Brawn, they were working. They were trying to make that car. Nobody can see it, but there's a picture of the 2001 GA on the wall there. That car was dominant, even more so than the Mercedes is now.
Yeah.
And that's when Ferrari was great. But again, they've been resting on that too long. And I'm not a Ferrari fan, but it's just sad to see such a team with such a legacy, be put down to where they are now. It's sad. Red Bull's a soft drink maker, for God's sakes.
Yeah, I know.
They don't have. If Enzo Ferrari's probably rolling in his grave watching this.
Yeah, it's got to be tough. It honestly, really, it has to be tough. So what I think is funny, and of course, being a Honda fanboy, everyone knows I'm a Honda fanboy. I love the fact that the Honda engine made it to the podium, and Carlos Sainz's McLaren blew out or caught on fire. What was it, midway through the race? Yeah. I mean, what the hell, McLaren? This is supposed to be a team that I'm assuming they're getting tons of money pumped in cash from their car.
Like McLaren Advancement is like the Apple of the auto industry.
And like their cars, their road cars are incredible. Like top dogs in a lot of respects. What the hell? Should this not be trickled down into those cars?
You would think, right?
Yeah. Instead of you're performing well on the road but not on the track. That doesn't make sense.
Ron Dennis ran McLaren like a surgical team. When he was fired and Zach Brown took over,
that's the American, right?
The American. Yeah. The F1 team plummeted. Their road cars are fantastic. I think McLaren is focused too much on their business end again, and Formula One is just waning.
Yeah,
I honestly think that, because if you used to look at the Senna, I mean, that thing is unbelievable.
You're right.
Of course, yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can't build fantastic road cars and have a fantastic F1 team. I don't think you can. I don't think they have the staff, and I don't think Zach Brown is good for the F1 team.
It's a great personality.
He is. He is. But I liked Ron Dennis better. I liked the fact that everybody was scared of him. I liked the fact that when you walked into work and you didn't have your laces done up or your tie was not straight, he would call you out on it.
When was Ron Dennis running McLaren?
He started running McLaren in the 60s.
That's
or the
what
70s.
I remember. Is even in Rush, I'm pretty sure they show Ron Dennis. Now
they do, yeah.
Yeah, but
so he was team principal between 1981 and 2009.
Oh, so until recently. Holy shit, that's a long time.
No, and they axed him for no good reason. I mean, and when they did, it seems like the ship fell apart. Everybody got loose. Everybody got lackadaisical. He was very, very strict. Dust, everything. Like the McLaren Technology Center is surgically clean.
So it's his sort of brainchild.
It is. He was the one that signed Senna and Prost.
Wow.
I mean, he was there when McLaren was winning all those races with the greatest driver, in my opinion, ever.
So then, I think what they did well with that Netflix documentary, they focused on the mid-pack. Now, McLaren's in the mid-pack, but if you focus on the teams who are dominating right now, it's not that interesting. Like, really, it was interesting maybe 5 years ago when, Hamilton was he's winning. Oh, man, it's so good. But now, just to know how advanced the car is and, how great, obviously Hamilton's a great driver, but to follow like Mercedes and Ferrari right now, I don't think is really that enjoyable. I really enjoyed following Haas, following Renault with all their problems.
There's lots of drama.
The rivalry, between them and Red Bull. Like there was, a lot of drama, a lot of room to make up. Sad about Williams, and Williams is still, tanking. All the drama with Force India, I had no idea. I would have been starstruck had I watched that documentary and then met Lance Stroll and Sergio Perez. But thank God I didn't. Like they're just like, oh, two regular guys. But then when you watch them on that series, it's almost like they're like, it seems a lot more professional.
Yeah.
But even with Force India, I can't believe that the previous owner through all like those
Vijay Mallya's got a lot of court money problems right now.
Yeah,
he's in hiding actually.
Yeah,
really?
for a long. For like the last maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
He didn't want to give up the team. He had to. He had no choice
at
this point because the banks are all after him, and he lost his airline, I think.
Yeah.
And then he just stepped in.
One thing I wanted to talk about, because they touched on it quite a bit in the documentary, and now we know the after effect of it. Do you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah, because we had an argument the other day.
Well, Sergio Perez. And nice man. I've met him.
Oh, no. Okay, maybe not. Maybe I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I'm going to go into that.
Okay.
But Sergio Perez is a good driver. Good driver. Sure. Definitely mid-pack. Ocon, though, I think is a more talented driver and had a career ahead of him. We can assume that what used to be Force India, but now Racing Point Sport Pesa, stayed with Perez because of the Mexican funding, right? The funding from Carlos Slim that was linked to Sergio Perez. Carlos Slim, if you guys don't know, Mexican billionaire. And, of course, a team like Racing Point Sport Pesa, they just got an influx of money from Stroll, a Canadian billionaire who has a consortium of investors who bought out the team. What they need as much money as they can to remain competitive, something they've never had before when they were Force India. That is an obvious reason to push for Perez to stay on the team. But I just felt so saddened seeing Ocon. He's a skilled driver, but what most people are going to remember, most like fair weather fans of Formula One are going to remember, is his conflict with Verstappen. What was it, in Texas? No, or
oh, geez, I don't
remember.
Abu Dhabi. It
might have been the last race of the season.
Yeah, like and whatever. Like we can go over the.
I think it was Brazil actually.
It definitely wasn't. It wasn't Abu Dhabi.
Okay, I think it was Brazil. Yeah. Now I know that Mikey, you say
that was Verstappen's error in my opinion, but anyway.
So here's what we got to get into, and I know this is a little bit old news, but let me tell you why it's relevant. Because right now Verstappen is the lead driver on the Red Bull team, whereas Ocon is now a reserve driver for Mercedes, which means that if you guys don't know who won the Australian GP, it was Bottas,
which I think was excellent because it's holding Ocon back because they're fighting for that seat.
So there's my point. Now we have Ocon, reserve driver for Mercedes, now sort of in a weird spot because he's hoping that Bottas does shit so that he can move up into a seat and race for Mercedes. Can you imagine if him and Verstappen, two young drivers who have a little bit of this animosity? I mean, it was the most physical conflict we saw in last season. I think that would be a great rivalry for the future, and they're both very talented. Ocon is a talented driver. His whole life is about racing. Didn't come from money, and he puts it all on the line. But let's discuss last season. Who had the right there? Does it come down?
I mean, I have my opinions on it.
I think we talked about this on the last podcast.
I don't know,
but I want to talk about it a little bit more because I'm a little bit more well informed now.
So. Listen, Verstappen is very, very aggressive, and you need to be aggressive in F1.
Yeah,
he should have had exercised a little bit more patience in that corner.
Yeah,
he would have easily passed him in the next lap or maybe a couple of laps after that. But he decided to throw his weight around and say, "Listen, my name is Verstappen. I can do whatever the hell I want. I'm gonna throw my car in here, and you better move.
Yeah,
and if you don't, then we're both gonna go." But it was an error on his part. It showed immaturity on his part. Champions don't. Hamilton wouldn't have done that. He would have waited.
If you truly are the better driver, you should have not perceived
foresight.
Yeah, had the foresight that he's not going to move out of your way. He's a young driver, and he's done this before. Like Ocon is an aggressive driver too.
Right.
He got into a collision with Perez. Like he had this whole thing with Perez about them. They took
that
each
was
other
Perez.
out.
Perez is a bit of a. He's not a nice guy.
Yeah, they kind of paint him as a
villain.
A villain in
but
in the documentary.
You need to be somewhat of a villain to be successful in Formula One. Verstappen learned a hard lesson that day, and if a championship was on the line, he would have lost it because of that stupidness. But he's a young kid. He started F1 when he was 18, youngest driver ever to start F1. So I mean, he's matured a lot. We'll see what happens this year. But definitely, I think it was his error.
I just wanted to talk about the narrative of Ocon's an idiot. Verstappen, he should have moved out of Verstappen's way.
Those are kind of fanboys talking that way.
No, but that.
Verstappen lost
it. Verstappen fanboy? I mean, I've heard you talk that way. And even I spoke that way. Even I spoke that way. Oh my God, why would he do this? Because you get caught up in like, oh, what an idiot. But the reality is, like, he was doing what a racer does. Even though you're being lapped by somebody, I'm still going to take my corner and I'm still going to make the best of it.
When Bottas had a big lead in Australia, when he came across the end of the pack, what did they do?
They moved out of his way. You can't expect them to do that, though.
Yeah, but
that is not your right.
He was actually racing to stay on the lead lap, is what he was doing.
Who?
Ocon.
Oh,
because he was gonna get lapped.
He was gonna get lapped. And
okay.
Like,
so they were free to race.
Like
they were free to race. He didn't have to let him go. They were free to race because he was on the lead lap. So they were free to race. That's why Ocon called into the team and said, "What should I do?" And they said, "Race him. Don't let him die if you don't have to."
So I mean, then in all respects here, it looks like he was just doing his job.
He was
as a Formula One driver, and Verstappen should not have assumed.
I see it as a difference of someone's fighting for points and someone's not. in terms of the whole.
But you're
season.
A driver, and
but
Verstappen
Verstappen can't assume that people are just going to let him by.
Yeah.
But I think he's setting a precedent as well. Like Senna did the same thing. Like Senna would throw his car into the corner in the first few races of F1 and crash and didn't care. But later on in the years following, people knew if they saw Senna's car behind them, they better move or else they're going to crash.
Who says that we know?
Our friend, our washed up
he raced
racer.
cars, Michael, and he always said that people learn that if I'm coming behind them or if I see them in the rearview mirror, they're not going to be on the track anymore.
Exactly, but that's what Verstappen is also trying to forge his way through F1.
That's fine, but how many times did Senna get out of his car and go and shove and push
that was a
the other
time.
driver?
That's not acceptable in today's society.
No, but I saw him lose at school a few times, but I never saw him like go and try and fight somebody about it. Like at the end of the day, you both did what you did. He didn't come out of nowhere and crash into you, much like Ricciardo smacked into him earlier in the season. Like apparently out of nowhere. I guess he hit the brakes and Ricciardo wasn't prepared for it. The two Red Bull cars in 1 and 2 position knock each other out of the race.
It was a frustrating time for Red Bull.
Yeah,
well, that's probably why Ricciardo left.
Well, there was obviously a thing there, and that's been all resolved for this season because Ricciardo's no longer on the team and Ocon is not racing. So
see, I don't know. I know you think Ocon's going to be great, but he's still yet to be proven. I mean,
I hope to see him get a seat.
Yeah,
I don't think he will for a while with Mercedes.
No.
I think until the rules change, Bottas will be in that seat.
Yeah,
especially with what he did last race. Ocon won't see any track time.
No. They're still. Mark my words. I'm saying this live on this podcast. Mercedes will win the championship this year and next until the rules change. In 2021.
Their engineering is
they are way
superior.
30 seconds ahead of the pack. 1 minute on Vettel. I mean, that's ridiculous. That is literally a lifetime of engineering and R&D to try to catch that. It'll never be done.
The car muscles its way around the track. There's no doubt. You see him. You see
they
those
have
cars
the
fly
aero
around.
down and they have the power unit down. I mean, you can't. They have both combinations to both
and reliability. When was the last time they had an issue?
Exactly.
Who knows? I don't even know.
Other teams like Haas are struggling with Pitts.
Man, those poor guys.
Jesus.
I mean, it was. They said there was a collective sigh when Lewis ran that fast qualifying lap. Like everybody in the paddock was like, "Oh my god!" Like because they cannot.
Yeah.
They don't know what's going on. They can't figure it out. And these are top engineers, millions and millions of dollars being spent
doctors.
By
yeah,
like people that
literally.
That's all they do is look at these cars. How can we make it fast? And they can't touch a Mercedes F1.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous. Honestly, I have a lot of opinions on this. I think the FIA needs to get involved. Ross Brown needs to do something. They can't. They're going to let 2 seasons go by with Mercedes domination, and they're just going to keep losing fans. I'm a fan of F1, diehard fan of F1, and even I sometimes get fed up. So how are they going to bring?
Because you're not even
it's frustrating to see no competition.
You're not watching for the podium. You're in my case, I'm only interested because of the mid pack. Like I want to see them battle it out.
Yeah, but headlines are made by the front 3.
Yes.
And to watch Lewis win, I love Lewis. I watched him from the first race to the last race he had in Australia, but watching him win all the time is just
I think
over
he even knows that. And
I'm over it.
I hope he
for the good of the sport, they need to do something.
For sure.
So hopefully in 2021, when they change these rules, they do something.
How many championships did Red Bull have when Vettel was leading there?
He dominated 4 seasons. 4 in a row.
Exactly. And how many is Mercedes at right now?
5. Lewis will catch Schumacher.
Yeah. That's
before 2021.
Yeah, he's still young.
Driver and car domination.
But they only have this year and next year. Because in 2021, the slate gets cleaned, and then we'll see who dominates after that.
You've been saying that. Can you explain to fair weather fans like me, what is this interval?
So in 2021, Ross Brawn and the Liberty Media Group have already said that we are changing the aero package and we're changing the engine package. Because they want the cars to be louder again. They want the cars to be more competitive again. And every time they change the engine package, which the last time they did it was 2014, going to the V6.
Got it.
They try to make it more even. They tried it, but nothing works. It's always one team dominating. So in the V8 era, it was Red Bull. Prior to that, the V10 era was Ferrari. Now it's Mercedes. Who's going to show up in 2021? We don't know.
Yeah.
I still think, well, it may be Renault because in
Williams.
It may be because in 2005, 2006, Alonso dominated with Renault.
Yeah.
So I think they need to go. I know this is not a popular opinion, but I think they need to go to standardized chassis. And that's it. I think they should have McLaren build the chassis and then they use their own power unit, like branded a Ferrari or whatever they want, and just let the drivers.
I think though there's too much. What's the word I'm looking for? Not testosterone, but there's too much like pride in F1 teams and heritage. Like Ferrari would never run a McLaren chassis. Renault would never run a McLaren chassis.
I know, but that's not up to them. There's things I don't want to do at work, but management has to steer me straight. Management being the FIA for the greater good of Formula One, they need to do that because they're losing.
Yeah.
When I go to Montreal almost every year, I think I've missed 1 year in the last 10.
Mm-hmm.
And when I used to go in 2005, 2006, when the cars were loud and they still weren't that competitive, but the sound, the visceral emotion, like these cars, it would sound like a 747 was coming at you.
Yeah.
The stands were packed. There was no room to move. When they changed to V6, it got a little leaner. And every year after that, it got a little leaner. Because people, now why are we going? Why are we going? There's no sound. There's no competition. So why am I there? Why am I spending $3,000 on a weekend to watch Formula One? For what? So they need to address that. And I'm a hardcore fan. Bringing a person who doesn't know, how do you convince them that this is interesting? You can't.
There's no I like what you said there, visceral. Like that.
Yes.
That's something that it spans knowledge and interest.
Exactly.
It's an experience that anyone can have, regardless of prior information. And you're right. If the noise isn't there, if the sense of speed isn't the same,
right,
then people are robbed of that opportunity who are not there to watch points and follow a team.
I could bring anybody to F1 in 2005, 6, and 7, and they would be like, I can't even describe to you in words what these cars used to sound like. The V10,
it kind of makes me sad. Like I get choked up when I think about it because it's something I've never experienced, and
you've been robbed of it because it will never come back, unfortunately. But I hope it does. They should run a retro series, to be honest with you, and they would pack the stands.
Well,
they would pack the stands.
We got the sim for now. I think we can find a V10 F1 and blast the volume.
Yeah, they would pack the stands. They would pack the stands anyway.
But no.
Sorry, I get emotional about it because I'm very invested. I've been watching F1 since 1996.
Wow.
Jacques Villeneuve brought me into the sport, the Canadian.
Really?
When he won the championship his second year in F1. The duel with Michael Schumacher it goes down in history. How he came in from Montreal and dominated, and Schumacher didn't have an answer for him. It was incredible to watch, and I've been watching since then. So
Jacques Villeneuve was the son of Gilles Villeneuve.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he came into F1 in 1996.
Yeah.
Lost the championship by a point, and then the next year he won it.
Wow.
And how dramatic was this? I don't know how many F1 fans are actually watching that know what I'm talking about, but on the last lap of the last race, the championship was on the line. They went into one of the corners. I don't remember what track it was. Schumacher steered his car into Villeneuve, speared him into Villeneuve, trying to get him off.
Wow.
Trying to wreck his race. But miraculously, Schumacher went off and Villeneuve continued. And it's legendary, that race.
It's one of those things that you watch I love watching 90s F1 footage because I know I was alive at the time, but I grew up in a family, all my dad and my uncles always into Formula One, and Ferrari was that was the pinnacle of like everything. So Schumacher obviously was like a childhood hero and name that, even though I wasn't invested in Formula One at the time, I still knew that these were the cars, and this was the driver. So when I watch that like 90s footage of Formula One, it's very nostalgic for me, even though I wasn't watching it at the time. It reminds me of that time again, which makes me so sad to think that we live in a time now where it's a little bit less, let's say, entertaining, dramatic. But there's hope. There's hope, right?
Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens in 2021.
I think they'll go back to
since they lost the noise.
You think they're going back to the V10s?
No, they're not.
No,
no way.
Well, they're going to stick with twin turbo 6?
They have to. It's single turbo. They have to. They're never going to get the noise back. So what they have to do is they have to make the competition come back. And the only way that's going to happen is if you standardize the chassis, standardize the engine, focus on the driver, and make the sport about the drivers.
Yeah.
The sport is now about Ferrari. It's about Mercedes. It's about McLaren. The drivers are fantastic, but Liberty Media is trying to bring back the driver. So that's why you notice now. I'm a longtime fan, so I remember the days when there was no numbers on the cars. The only number that was on the car was number 1. When you won the championship, you got the number 1 on your car. Nobody else had a number.
Really?
But now they're trying to make the cars more graphic, put the numbers on the cars, emphasize the driver. Just like, again, I know I keep going back to NASCAR, but they have a great business model.
Yeah.
Their cars are all the same. They're branded Chevy, Toyota, not Dodge, but Ford.
Mm-hmm.
And the drivers are the focus. And every week there's a different race winner. Every week there's a 25 lead changes. You know, pit strategy still works in NASCAR. And Liberty Media, being an American company, is going to bring that to F1. And that's what we need.
They have to have their feet
that's what we need
in that foothold, yeah. Well, I mean, I hope that it does happen. I think it's thinking about the future of it. It's definitely a sport that I want to keep following. I'm very happy about this Netflix documentary bringing me back to this, you know, this form of sport, and I hope that it remains entertaining. I hope there's another documentary because
they might continue it year by year.
I think so.
But that being saying all that, the next race, Bahrain, is really going to be a tell-all because the track is completely different than Australia.
Yeah,
we're going to see where everybody actually stands.
There's more opportunities for passing.
The track is much more technical. It's going to emphasize the chassis more.
Okay.
And we'll see where Ferrari is. We'll see where Renault is. Hopefully, you know, the Red Bull will be there, and maybe they can knock the Mercedes off their throne. Hopefully.
Yeah, I guess that's what.
Because now, remember, guys, there's another point now available at each race.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So 21 extra points, and if Mercedes keeps getting fastest laps every time,
yeah, then
it was quite funny in the last race. Bottas, when he was way ahead of everyone, he said they told him, "You don't have the fastest lap anymore." He said, "No, I want that fastest lap," and he was going to go pit when he didn't need to, just to get fresh
tires,
equipment. Yeah. So that he could get that extra point. And
he
said,
said,
why not? Like it's an extra point. We want a race. We want to win.
Mm-hmm.
They said no, don't come in. But he says I'm going to go for the fastest lap.
Were they worried about him not being able to hold the lead if he pitted?
Yeah, if he pitted, but he was ahead by quite a bit. So
he was
like
30 seconds.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He could have came in and went out, but
he ended up getting it. He
did get it.
And I'm sorry to keep going back to. I mean, we've been talking about F1 for a while, but when we have Vic on the show, we're going to talk about F1. What do you guys think about Verstappen? I'm going to say challenging Hamilton. But I know that Hamilton didn't consider it a challenge at all.
He doesn't like Verstappen too much.
Yeah,
but he got away from him pretty cleanly. I think it wasn't.
There was no challenge.
No, he was hooking onto him for.
That was because
you got to find a safe spot to get through.
That's because Hamilton wanted it that way.
Mm-hmm.
They're thinking they only have 3 engines for the season.
Yeah,
so they have to
really
preserve. Yeah, and the car was damaged.
3 engines per car.
3 engines per car per season. Yeah.
Okay, so McLaren already
blew one up.
Well, they caught on fire.
Yeah. Well, they can see now when they say engines.
Yeah.
They mean the block and the heads.
Okay.
So if the MCU blows up or the batteries blow up, I mean, there's penalties for that as well.
Yeah.
But they only have 3 core engines. So heads, pistons, block, that has to be intact. So if it caught on fire, I mean, the motor's still going to be okay.
Got it.
It's just all the ancillary stuff will be destroyed.
Yeah. Ricardo, first 5 seconds of the race.
Poor guy, man.
Not disqualified.
See, there's a thing about Ricardo. If he's not your number 1 racer, he's everyone's second favorite racer. He's such a nice guy. He's so
always smiling.
Yeah.
He's so charming. Yeah. That's
in his hometown. I think the last 3 seasons he didn't finish Australia.
Never performed well.
No.
But why I like Ricardo, and I'm sorry to keep referring back to this thing. It makes me sound like a total cuck when it comes to Formula One. And sorry again about the house phone. What I like about Ricardo is that he, in the series, they show Monaco last year where the Renault engine failed him, and he was leading the race. At this point, he was already wavering with Red Bull. He didn't know if he was going to stay, but it meant so much to him to at least get. Win one race, and through driver skill alone, basically he, careened that car through. I think the last 10 laps of Monaco with a bad engine, like a failing engine, and he had I forget who was on his tail, but he ended up still pulling it through. He won, so that's pretty awesome. He's a talented driver.
I don't take anything away from Ricardo's win in Monaco, but remember, Monaco is almost impossible to pass under ideal conditions. Never mind.
Yeah. There's no passing.
There's no passing.
So tight.
There's no passing at all. So him being able to do that with a hurt car is impressive.
I've seen Senna pass like 4 times in Monaco.
Yeah, but it was a different time. It was a different time.
Smaller
Senna
cars.
was seconds ahead of the field.
Yeah.
You have to have a great overspeed in order to, because you can come out of the tunnel and outbrake somebody, but your car has to be like a second faster per lap. And Senna had that speed.
Yeah.
You know, over the rest of the field.
Sure.
Not over Prost, but because that's what. Anyway.
Okay, well maybe we'll meander a little bit here. We've been talking about Formula One this whole time. There was some other big automotive news recently, right? Geneva just happened. Geneva is one of the biggest shows on the circuit, and I think that there was a mixed bag of emotions from Geneva this year. There's, it's not like Chicago, or Detroit. It's not like the North American shows. They do a lot more European, exotic releases, things that maybe don't touch down here where we are in Canada and in the United States, of course. But, I mean, we referenced it once, I think, already, or maybe not. Maybe we were just talking about it. Chris Harris, who I like him as an automotive journalist. He actually tweeted out saying this year Geneva a little bit disappointing because it was majority about hypercars that are out of touch with most people, and electric cars that there's zero infrastructure for at the moment. So it's
no. What he said was, it was a show to get influencers wet.
Yeah, there it is.
To get influencers wet and to promote cars that nobody can afford.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's where we are at this point. It is an exciting time. Granted, it's exciting, but no one will be able to drive the cars that are exciting people. Like I'm looking here, what is this? The Bugatti Divo or whatever?
They had the Divo there. They had the regular.
They came out with some cool stuff. Of course, there's a new Ferrari. I don't even know if we've talked about this.
No.
Sorry, is it the Ferrari or is it the Pininfarina? This is confusing me.
Both.
But are they not the same car?
No,
there's the new Ferrari. I know the Pininfarina is like a style. They're an automotive design company, but their car, the Battista,
yes,
that looks a hell of a lot like the new Ferrari. What was the nomenclature for the new one?
The F8 Tributo.
That's what it's called?
Yeah, Tributo. Yeah.
Why? What were you thinking?
No, okay, I don't know. They look very similar. But I'm reading here that the Pininfarina Battista is powered by a Rimac powertrain.
It's all electric.
Yeah, produces 1,874 brake horsepower. Jesus. And 1,696 pound-feet of torque from 4 electric motors. 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds. But it's one of the best-looking electric cars I've ever seen.
It's like an homage to the original owner of Pininfarina.
Oh, okay.
His name was Battista.
Yeah,
like the wrestler.
Oh,
he's an old Italian guy.
I was gonna say, damn, that's pretty cool. Anything else you guys saw that you're really into from Geneva?
Geneva, yeah, lots.
Wow, clearly.
I like the Alfa Romeo Tonale. That's nice.
Is that the SUV?
SUV, yeah.
I was watching one video where the guy went up to the stand and he's like, "And we welcome you the toenail," and the girl's like, "No, it's the tonale," and he's like, "Yes, toenail."
Jesus, kind of looks like a toenail. Is this like an EV? Because one thing we said maybe a year ago, we kind of predicted that, because when we said this, Audi, Mercedes, and BMW had all released electric SUVs, fully electric SUVs. Not like they had released it to the media, obviously not for sale yet, but these were more than concepts. These were like fabricated vehicles. They were ready to hit the roads. They just had to go through the rest of their testing. And I think then we made the prediction that, the year 2019 that we're in right now, I think by 2021, we are going to see a lot more. You're going to be able to walk into a dealership of any level, domestic, import, of any price range, and you're going to be able to put yourself in a fully electric car. I think that's where they're going with this.
You're right, but this is not.
Okay, sorry, this is not. Yeah, my bad. Yeah. I would look at it and automatically assume it is because of how little front arrow there is. Okay.
But it's like just a small SUV.
Yeah, so like a Stelvio replacement.
No, smaller.
Smaller than a Stelvio?
I think so, yeah.
Is it even coming to our shores then? What the hell? Alfa Romeo is such a niche brand already.
Probably will. It's getting bigger in North America. But about the electrics and hybrids and that, I think Audi released a hybrid of every car variant they have.
But hybrid, I don't care. I want, are we talking plug-in hybrid at least?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a step in the right direction.
BMW did the same with all their SUVs, and Mercedes, I think it's just the ones we talked about.
If we're talking
like the SUV,
if they're already selling plug-in hybrids, that's the next step, man. What they're gonna do, they won't even redesign the vehicle. They'll just release it 1 year. It's gonna be hybrid. The next year, it's gonna be fully electric. That's it. They're just gonna remove the internal combustion power plant from it, because if you already have the plug-in technology there, yeah, you just take weight out of the car until you have a proper battery to supply.
But yeah, going back to more fun fuel cars.
Yeah.
The toenail.
The toenail.
You were talking about that, Vic.
Yeah.
I
love the way it looks. I mean, it's a beautiful SUV.
Yeah.
Whether it comes here or not is
you're just an FCA fanboy.
No, not really.
No.
Actually, speaking of FCA, my Dodge has been giving me some problems.
Oh,
which I'm not too happy about.
Well, please share.
Well, I mean,
totally anecdotal, but
a few weeks ago or a month ago, the starter went on it. I mean, so I had to bring it over to the Dodge and
the actual the
starter
remote,
motor. Yeah,
no, not the remote starter.
No, the actual starter. And FCA, they didn't want to replace it because they said it wasn't doing it at the time, which was
that's classic.
Did you feed them the line? I'm a mechanic.
No,
sir.
I didn't, because I know they would probably just leave it outside. So I just insisted, and then they finally did it. And then yesterday, the service shifter light started to flash.
What's a service shifter light?
I had no idea, so I Googled it, and apparently it's a T-handle shifter with LEDs on it. Apparently that's a module, and it actually tells the transmission what gear it's in. So it's not just a thing.
There's
to
no
tell
connection.
I don't know what
hard connection.
I guess. Anyway, I disconnected the battery and rebooted everything, and it seems to be fine now. But apparently it's a common issue with all the 8-speed Challenger and Chargers. So go figure.
I think that people would get into a Dodge product over the competitors because they want the simplicity of a V8 and the power and the reliability of a V8. But what they have to understand now is that, yes, the power plant's V8, but it's all modern technology everywhere else. There's going to be sensors replacing mechanical switches now, and that's the reality of cars today. Everything has to be diagnosed by a computer. No more,
I'll be the first one to say that I only like the car because when I put it down, it sounds like a muscle car.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, it rattles. It doesn't get good fuel economy. It's big. It's
our friend with a Challenger is expressing the same. What's the word?
Grievance.
Yeah, towards his Challenger.
Really, I mean,
it does one thing well. It makes you feel good when you hit the gas. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I'd rather have an import, like a Honda or a Mazda or something.
Well, you spend the majority of your day in Hondas.
Yeah.
Right. You work with me at our dealership, so you would say there's a noticeable difference in
absolutely in every way, in build quality, in outside paint texture, like everything is better on a Honda or any Japanese made car. Anything
you hear that, Eric?
Anything
and
that's
Alex, Alex is a worse offender than Eric, because Eric, obviously our friend Eric drives a Challenger, and he makes it. There's his experience. Anyone can understand why that would give him that like he would have an informed decision to make. But like our other friend Alex just likes to shit talk Japanese made cars.
No.
Meanwhile, his Ford has left him on the road how many times now? It's done well. Like it's got a lot of kilometers, but he has been on the road stuck.
Like I know twice. It's not going to age well, this car.
Yeah.
I'm already thinking about getting rid of it.
I think that's where
but not getting rid of it for a Japanese car, getting rid of it for an SRT.
Oh yeah.
Just keeping it new.
Yeah.
Like so every year, as long as it's under 30K, trading it in and getting the.
I think that's a good idea.
Because if you keep them fresh, they're fine. But it's,
Well, I mean, you better get out of it.
Speaking of that,
quick.
my dad, FCA, my dad just bought a Jeep Rubicon.
I like that. I like the Jeeps, man. I'm digging them.
So I'll tell you the story behind that. My dad is a typical Italian man.
Yeah.
He loves his Chevy van. He's
course.
had a Chevy van my whole life.
Does it have the Ferrari sticker on the rear window?
No.
But can I just make a side thing here? I don't know if this is popular in other areas outside of the town that we live in here in Canada, where there's a large majority of Italians. What was the point of putting a Ferrari sticker on the back of your utility van? It was rampant. If you drive around Vaughan, all you see now, because now no one does it, but these faded Ferrari stickers
or
on
the outline because it's like perfect. The window's perfect right behind.
Why?
I think it's a pride in the nation. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Ferrari put Italy on the map. I mean,
look how many people walk around wearing Ferrari sweaters.
Because Ferrari's a merchandising machine.
Yeah. Okay, but sorry, continue.
It's almost
about
like
the
Gucci
Rubicon.
Ferrari. You know what I mean? Like the stuff. Anyway, my dad had vans his whole life, so he's coming time to get rid of this one. It's 18 years old. It's got 300,000 kilometers on it. Check engine light's never been on this van.
Wow.
I mean, it's just a tank.
Which van?
Original
is this?
engine, original transmission. A G van. So a full size G van, like Chevy van.
Mm-hmm.
But very reliable. Like it rattles like crazy. The body's not rusting because he's had it rust proof. But anyway, he said, "Listen, I want to buy a new car." I said, "Okay." He goes, "I want another van." I go, "Dad," I go, "Listen, nobody's buying these vans anymore. They're making minivans for work now. These vans are so antiquated that it's ridiculous." I go, "Well, let's look for something else." So I said, "Let's go to the Dodge dealership because I know they make fun cars."
Yeah.
So I said, "What do you think of a Jeep? It's a truck too, but it's fun, you know." At first, he was humming and hawing, and it's like, you know what? I want a Jeep now. Then he got obsessed with this Jeep.
Oh,
so
my
then
God.
My dad doesn't do technology. No older men do, right? So, but he has a photograph of a Jeep on his phone. That's how much he fell in love with this thing. And he said, he goes, "I don't care what I get." He goes, "I want it to have the red tow hooks and the red interior."
Hey, okay.
The red brushed interior. So he's talking about the Rubicon because that's the one that comes with it. So I went to the dealership with him and I'm like, "Tell me the specs on the Rubicon." So it's made for off-roading. It's got high gearing in it. It's got like automatically disengaging sway bars for articulation. So it's completely not for him. It's like completely out of his demographic.
The Rubicon though, is that not?
It's the top of the line.
Okay,
Off-roading Jeep.
So then below the, because I
Sahara.
just thought all 4-door Jeeps, like 4-door Jeep looking, not obviously not Grand Cherokee.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the ones that look that you can take the roof off.
So-
I thought they were all Rubicons, but I guess
No,
not.
so the lineup goes Jeep Sport, and then you have the Jeep Sport 2-door and 4-door, and then you have the Sahara, which is 2-door and 4-door. The Sahara is the more of the luxury one, the one that the dealership tried to push on my dad, and my dad emphatically said, "I don't want what you're trying to sell me." So stop talking about it.
No more.
So he said, "I want a Rubicon." So fine, he ended up getting, we purchased it last Friday. We went up to Stouffville, which is the dealership affiliated with the Zankin Group.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Shout out to Stouffville Chrysler. They treated us very, very well. Nice. Gave us a nice discount on the product. And it'll be here in 4 weeks.
Cool. That's exciting.
Yeah. So he's very excited about it. But it's not, again, when they see this guy coming out of this thing, it's going to be hilarious because it's a young person's vehicle. But he loves it.
Yeah, and that's all that matters. Now, let me ask. The Rubicon, I think, comes standard with the roof that can be removed and doors that can be removed. That's a feature of these vehicles,
so
right?
everything can be removed. He got a hard top with just removable top, just above the driver and the passenger, are removable panels.
Oh, okay.
But you could still take the whole top off.
Yeah.
It's just hard to do.
It was like Michael's.
You know what you say it's hard to do? It takes 5 minutes, no longer.
But they actually make a different roof that is automatically comes off now.
Oh.
There's one that rolls off, and
I've
then
seen
there's
the
another
soft
one.
tops that
The soft top comes off manually, but the hard top will come off, but it will never come off that Jeep.
No, that would be so fun. I mean, if he lets you like take it for the weekend or something, I'm sure.
I'm sure he will, but I don't know if I'll unbolt it because then if it rattles or whatever, he'll be.
No, there's no bolting. It's just the
Torx.
Yeah.
No, there are Torx.
So are there?
For the two front panels, they're just clamps, and that's you can do that while you're like, let's say you go on a long trip, midway through you're like, I want a sunroof. You just pop them off and throw them in the back.
Yeah.
They come with bags too,
okay,
so they don't scratch. But the rear section is held on with like 6 Torx bolts.
That's right.
And they give you the tools in the truck, so you can literally. Well, I mean, you'd like to do it at home, so you can put your hardtop in your garage where the car was because it's big. But man, when we were in Florida with our buddy's Jeep, it was awesome. He was afraid to do it at first, of course, like
for good reason, because what ended up happening, Anthony.
Okay, well, we ended up taking it to the mall one day, and it sat outside in a hurricane, and it was fine. We had done, because the cool thing about the Jeep is it's made for that. So we had taken.
No,
we had
sure
gutted,
it is, but it doesn't work well.
Well, we took the doors off. We gutted the doors weren't actually on it for the hurricane, I don't think. We gutted the interior. We took the carpets out. It looked like it'd come off the factory. But we did, and we dried everything, and it was perfectly fine. We let the water drain out.
Well, they're washout interiors.
However,
so you think?
Well,
this
says they
specific.
are.
This was
what
like,
year was it?
This was a 2015. No.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe. Okay, anyway, it was like the 40th anniversary edition.
40 or 50th anniversary.
But, Vic, it had perforated seats. We didn't realize
leather.
all the moisture had collected in the seats. So we were sitting in them. We didn't feel it. So they
because you were also soaked.
Well, whatever. They came back. They came back weeks later to I'm gonna call
moldy
it
car
mildew growing in the seats. There was colonies of bacteria growing out of their seats.
Well, they advertise the new ones as washout.
They are. But I think if you get a Sahara and it's got the luxury
theirs
perforated
was a Rubicon.
Yeah, but again, if you get like a perforated seat package, they'd probably tell you, like, okay, that's the one thing. Like, you can't don't wet the seats. Wash the car. You can wash the carpet. Take the carpets right. We had the carpets right out of the car.
They say you can hose the interior out. That's what the Jeep says.
As long as if it's regular leather,
maybe.
Yeah, but even cloth, like you can't, right? If it's perforated leather, you can't as well. Yeah. It's gonna sit in the cushion, right? The water sinks.
So they then brought it back to the dealership and got a Jeep that Anthony cannot take everything off of.
And no, I wasn't the only one, and it was fun. We all had a great time with that truck.
I'll definitely take the doors off and drop the windshield just to see.
We didn't do the windshield. I wouldn't do the windshield. Because then you can't drive.
Maybe if you're driving like around
around the area, like my dad's cottage, I'll just drive around.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Not on the highway. Unless I have goggles on.
Even 40, yeah, you got to wear your helmet.
Yeah, you got stones shot up at you.
Oh my God, imagine. I've been on my Vespa doing 40. Something hits you, it's like a pellet gun. Yeah. Even a fly. Bing,
That's why you don't wear the cosmonaut helmet.
No, you can't get on a Vespa with a full face helmet. You look like an idiot. But anyway, no, but that Jeep, that experience, regardless of how moldy it ended up being, changed my mind about Jeeps fully. They are fun vehicles. I like them. I hope one day I will never own one, but I hope someone I'm close to owns one, like my brother. I keep telling him, like, that's a perfect. It's fun in the summer. It's great in the winter. It's perfect for a young kid.
Yeah.
Just that the fuel economy kind of sucks, but there's no power there. He likes to drive faster cars, so
the 3.6 engine that they're putting in them this year is actually pretty peppy. It's 8-speed transmission. Well, I mean, what are you comparing it to?
A normal SUV.
Wow.
It like getting on the highway on the ramp.
Have you driven the new one?
No,
not the new one. No,
the shape's the same. That's the problem.
No, but it's redesigned. This 18 is all new.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I love the look of it.
I mean the powertrain too.
How much horsepower does it make?
265.
Not enough.
Probably not enough.
Not enough. Anything under 4, that thing is a heavy.
Maybe if there was 5 grown men.
When me and Nikolai took it,
it's got the 8-speed now. So there's torque multiplication.
I don't think so.
It was comically slow in accelerating.
It was bad on the highway. You can't even keep up. That's the one problem about the Jeep, as it's almost in the same category as a Fiat 500 because it's so good at one thing, like that it has to suffer in other aspects.
I was
gonna say a Honda Accord, a Honda Accord or a Toyota Corolla are designed to be good in every dimension, right? Like no matter what you're doing, practicality, keeping up with traffic, going over bumpy roads. They're meant, but the Jeep has to be good at being a sporty off-roading car that's also really fun and ready. So it can't be good on the highway, and that's where Jeep ownership. Your dad's not going to notice because he's not passing people on the highway.
No,
but people like if you are an aggressive driver, a Jeep is not for you because you put your foot down. And the Toyota Corolla just goes right by you.
Like the first time we sat in it, and our friend was merging onto the highway. He said, "You should start accelerating now." And he's like, "Yeah, it's flooring it."
Floor.
Not even. That's too fast.
Yeah.
He seems to love it. So.
Oh, of course.
I thought it had adequate power when I drove it.
It could be different. It could be,
but it's unlikely. Because that's not what it's about. The engine has to perform in conditions where like low speed torque is important, but that like okay, what are you shaking?
I'm saying capable. Didn't really have that either.
No, off the line it gave a little bit of grunt, but the minute we got past 40, it was like
I'm curious to see the new Jeep. I'm sure they would have improved it.
Let's talk about something that you actually sent me on the Instagram. Because I want to move into trucks, and I was going to move into trucks really quickly by first telling Victor that the F-150 Limited is faster than his Challenger RT.
Can I just say one more thing before we go to trucks? Yes. I just want to mention Mazda. So if we're done with Jeeps, I just have one thing to say about Mazda.
Please do.
So the Mazda's a great brand. I just want to go on record by saying that they're very.
Your feelings for Mazda, I think, are in line with my feelings for Honda.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I'm not. I love Mazda.
I don't
only
jerk off to Hondas. Like,
care to express your feelings?
This is YouTube. Let's keep it clean.
Yeah.
Let's just say I love Mazda only because in my opinion, they're very underrated as a company. Their value proposition is unbelievable. Their cars are just as reliable as a Honda, and they don't cost as much, and they don't lose their value as much as most cars. Their depreciation is the same as a Honda Civic. Let's say comparing it to a Mazda 3. So some phenomenal news out of Mazda. They've actually made the Mazda 3 all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is fantastic. That car is now going to be the complete package.
I want to pose a counterpoint to this because I thought the exact same thing. When they released I was at the auto show. I did a little blurb for Zankin Auto Group, obviously the dealer group that owns the dealership we work at. I was so impressed by, number one, the new body style on the hatch, and number two, that the Mazda 3 sedan, we're talking entry-level sedan.
All-wheel drive.
Comes with all-wheel drive. So impressed by it.
Compression. Now, sorry, let me just toot their horn a bit.
Okay.
Compression ignition engine, all-wheel drive. Well, Skyactiv is one thing, but we're talking about compression ignition on a gasoline engine. So diesel technology now on a gasoline engine. What does that mean? Fuel economy through the roof. All-wheel drive, great little package. Why would I buy a Civic? I have no idea. The interior is better, more roomy. All the bells and whistles on the base model. I mean, I don't know where they're not going wrong. Go ahead.
I believed exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with our general manager, who obviously has a bias toward Honda because that's what he sells. But he informed me about the reality here. How much does that all-wheel drive Mazda 3 cost?
I don't know.
Find out.
Okay.
I don't know, but I know it's expensive. And that's the problem.
Okay, so
the market share that they lack, they will never gain by making a more expensive product. So right now, it's fairly obvious to say the Civic and Corolla have the compact car segment locked down. No other brand. Obviously, there's no domestics. Domestics have canceled all compact cars and sedans, coupes, whatever. No imports from Germany have any kind of market share for compact car.
So the 2019 Mazda 3.
Yes, all-wheel drive.
Starting, well, it does it come in?
I think it still comes in front wheel.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hold on a second here.
They needed to do this as a brand. I agree 150% with you because they had a great car, but there was nothing differentiating it between a new Civic. Corolla, yes, because Corollas are. I don't know why anyone would buy a Corolla over a Civic or a Mazda 3.
Neither do I.
They're literally blobs of garbage. I'm sorry for any Corolla owners out there, but you should have done better research.
From Geneva?
The new Corolla? Okay, hold on. I like the Corolla hatch, but the regular. Let's talk about regular Corolla.
Is a hatch. That one I was talking about.
Okay, I like the Corolla hatch, but the regular Corolla, the sedan you see out there, does not compete with the sedan, the Mazda 3 sedan or the Civic sedan. Definitely in style, in interior design, in performance, it's not there. But Mazda needed to release these things. They need those things to differentiate themselves because they don't have the market share already. So they don't have the buyers, the comeback buyers. They have to attract new buyers. But do we have a price on this car?
I'm building one. That's the only way I can find it.
I don't know.
Oh, I mean, you can probably also tell us, how is their website?
It's pretty decent.
Yeah.
Mazda in the 90s built a reputation. It was terrible in the 90s. That's the problem. And people still can't get over it.
Okay,
the car's just a rust coming off the truck.
We still see them. Continue.
So a 2019 Mazda 3 GS, that is the lowest model that you can get the all-wheel drive in.
Okay.
Because the GX is lower, but you can't get the all-wheel
drive. Can I guess at the price?
Yeah.
I'm still going to say it's under $30,000.
What's your guess?
I'm going to say $28,995.
I was going to say 29 because
Vic is closer. It's $27,826.
You can't tell me that is not a great deal. A fully
pre-tax, any other options.
A fully loaded Civic,
GS.
A touring Civic is $28,000.
Fully loaded.
Yes.
Okay. Let me fully load this thing.
Yes, it's a GS. I get it, but a GS. Why don't you go through the options list there on a GS? I bet you it has steering wheel controls. I bet you it has heated seats. I bet you it has everything. It might not have leather. It might not have a sunroof. But it has every other creature comfort you would want.
So it has heated exterior mirrors.
Go ahead.
Dual zone automatic climate controls.
On the base, on a GS.
That's
GS isn't the base.
Now.
GS is your
okay, go ahead.
Middle.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
But that's the lowest one.
The lowest one, okay.
With all-wheel drive available. Select eye active sense safety features.
Okay.
Rain sensing intermittent front wipers, heated steering wheel. Leatherette trimmed
heated steering wheel is one thing over the Civics. Civics, I don't believe, have a heated steering wheel.
No, they don't.
That's standard with the GS.
Right.
Yeah. I added in the all-wheel drive, which is $3,000.
That's a fantastic deal.
Leatherette trimmed upholstery. Now this luxury package is for $1,900. So leatherette trimmed upholstery, power operated glass moonroof with interior sunshade, tilt-up ventilation feature, one touch open feature, auto dimming interior rear view mirror.
So wait, the sunroof is an option at that price point
with the luxury package.
So it comes with the luxury package.
No, it's an extra $1,900.
All I'm going to say here is, I think I'm going to say my point is proven here. Only because
I disagree, Anthony. How can your point be proven if we're just building a Mazda 3 GS for under $30,000?
The most expensive Civic, the top of the line Civic, is still under $30,000.
I know, but it's not all-wheel drive.
Top
and
of
it
the line
doesn't have
Mazda.
Sky Active.
Let me tell you, why do you need all-wheel drive?
Why do you need all-wheel drive in the winter in Canada?
How many people with front-wheel drive Civics with winter tires get stuck? You can get a front-wheel drive Civic fully loaded with winter tires for less money than a fully loaded all-wheel drive Mazda 3. And you still would likely have... I mean, all-wheel drive...
I would pick an all-wheel drive car over a front-wheel drive car.
I know what you mean because you and I are aggressive drivers, but for the majority of people...
for the regular people, all-wheel drive is more...
I think all-wheel drive is a luxury. It is not a necessity, bar none.
I completely disagree.
I disagree.
I drive a
all-wheel
drive car on all seasons.
If you put all cars in all-wheel drive mode... If all cars were made in all-wheel drive, cars would be safer in the wintertime. In the summer, no, I get what you're saying. You're wrong. Have you driven an all-wheel drive car in the winter?
All-wheel drive cars in the winter help you accelerate faster and give you better handling, accelerating.
Better control overall.
I would say that they're more prone to understeer and the excessive speed. Hold on,
more prone to understeer.
Speed that they allow you to do.
In fact,
makes it even more dangerous.
Anthony, if I take an all-wheel drive car around a circuit, you're telling me it's going to be more prone to understeer? Absolutely not. It's going to claw its way out.
Is a front-wheel drive car not known for understeer into corners?
In fact, a front-wheel drive car
compared to rear drive, yes, but all drive is even heavier and still has a front. There's still it's still front wheel drive biased. It's just going to send power to the rears when it's slipping. Listen, hold on.
Listen, your point about being an understeery is completely
okay. Fine,
out of left
let's get rid of that. But listen to this, and I want to make my point clear here. I love the fact that it has all wheel drive, but for the regular person,
fully loaded,
the person who's actually cross shopping these vehicles, if they are a normal person, they will not see the benefits of all wheel drive for the extra money they spend. They can get a fully loaded Civic with winter tires, and they will be totally fine. How many people, regular people...
Then you're saying that Subaru's Subaru should be not a company.
Yeah,
no, everything they have is all-wheel drive.
Subaru they market it as a sportier vehicle for people who...
Yeah, but Mazda's whole thing is sport.
That's fine, but they will never compete. They will never gain market share to what the Civic has. And
listen, I'm going to tell you something right now. They're not going to gain market share because Honda's base of loyalty is unreal.
Okay.
And it has nothing to do.
That can't be a factor.
I'm going to tell you that Honda's base loyalty is just like the iPhone people of the world. They don't care what they give you. They're just going to buy the new one, and they don't give a crap. People who are informed, who know about cars,
right,
and that want to make a decision about a car and not just be handed anything, are going to buy a Mazda 3 with all-wheel drive. You want to know why? Because they're smart and they're informed, and that's why I have an Android and you have an iPhone. Thank you.
All-wheel drive. Bottom line is this.
I mean, I don't agree with that.
All-wheel drive.
Well, I'm right. If you
want
to argue that,
I agree with market, like how they hold people to it, but
listen,
this is going to be the first
drive
3-hour episode of podcast.
Luxury. And by definition, a luxury, it makes the car better. I will agree with you. It makes the car better.
You could also drive a bicycle around in the winter with studs. It's not.
Hold on. Okay, that's reaching too far because the Civic, you could take a normal day, an average day in the winter. We're talking maybe a little bit of snow on the ground, and an average customer.
Sure.
They are going to get to work in the exact same condition of happiness, whether they're in an all-wheel drive Mazda 3 or a front-wheel drive Civic. And that's my point. It is a luxury, not a necessity.
Anthony, it's a safety feature. all-wheel drive is a safety
I see
feature.
winter tires as a safety feature.
Yes, I know, but
all-wheel drive helps you.
How is it not a safety
any
feature?
Engineer will tell you that if they had their way, they would make the car all-wheel drive. Driving every wheel is safer than driving just the front wheels. They only drive do you know why they drive the front wheels, Anthony? You want to know why? It's cost effective. It has nothing to do with safety. It makes the manufacturers rich. That's what it does. Rear wheel drive is actually more ideal.
Hold on. Front wheel drive is 30,000 times safer than rear wheel drive.
It's not. That's what they're making you think.
Is. No, because understeer is safer than oversteer. Oversteer is not easy to correct. Understeer is corrected with braking. Like that's obvious. Anyone, this is what race car drivers tell you. Like understeer is easy to correct. Understeer is not, or oversteer is not.
You sound like a consumer that's been fed nonsense.
Oh my
God.
You're brainwashed.
You are brainwashed, Anthony. Front-wheel drive, the only reason front-wheel drive exists is because it costs the manufacturer less money to throw everything in the front. You're going to weight bias. Anthony, if you weight bias a car, all the weight is in the front. What's the weight distribution on a Civic? All the weight's in the front. There's nothing in the back. You're telling me that's safer?
You are...
I'm 100% correct.
You're putting yourself behind the wheel of these cars. The average person can handle understeer better than they can handle oversteer. That is to deny that makes me seriously question your stubbornness and how dug in you are on this topic.
I'm not dug in at all.
You think a regular person can counter oversteer better than understeer?
Anthony, those things don't exist in an all-wheel drive car.
Okay, we're talking. Okay, I'm picking
because they're balanced.
Right now your argument about rear-wheel drive that rear-wheel drive is more optimal for performance, but not for safety. 100% no.
I'm saying as far as a balancing a vehicle, front-wheel drive is the least optimal
balancing.
So you're talking about understeer and oversteer. I'm talking about something else.
But balancing is a factor in safety.
Okay, but not balancing is not over car
in
control.
An ideal world, my race car would be rear wheel drive and my daily car would be all wheel drive. That's
100%.
Front wheel drive is just something that we wouldn't even know about front wheel drive if it wasn't about money.
Agreed. I agree with you there. It's cost effective. That's why it's so popular. All-wheel drive is the superior drive mode. However, our argument here is not about the superior drive mode. It is about why would someone who is cross-shopping a Mazda 3 and a Civic take the Civic? Because at the end of the day, their life will not change if they spend $6,000 more.
Yeah, but
once they get a luxury Mazda 3, it's going to come out to about $6,000 more. With if you get top of the line Mazda 3, top of the line Civic.
Anthony, but wait a minute. If you're first of all, you're not cross shopping a Mazda 3 against a Civic. You're cross shopping now an all-wheel drive car against another all-wheel drive car, which is what's another all-wheel drive car? An Audi or a Mercedes or I don't even know. But the Civic and the Mazda 3 are not in the same category anymore. The front drive Mazda 3 maybe, but the all-wheel drive Mazda 3 has now crossed over into a different category in a European market. And that's where we're competing. Now, am I going to buy a baseline Audi now, or am I going to buy a Mazda 3 all-wheel drive if I'm looking for an all-wheel drive car? Thank you very much.
That's got a point there.
It changes the market, yes.
So I'm not competing against Honda anymore. People don't know. That's the problem. Mazda is a great company. I tell everybody to go drive a Mazda before they buy a Honda. I would take a CX-5 over a CR-V any day of the week. They're quieter on the inside. That. Okay. Have you driven a CX-5?
Your sister's had what, a CX-3 or CX-5?
CX-3.
The CX-3 is a piece of garbage.
I'll have you know.
Sorry, then that was what I was.
When I was looking at cars with them, everything that we looked at was all-wheel drive.
The CX-3, I'll tell you what the CX-3 is, and even it's the fit of the Mazda world.
Okay.
It's the entry level. No, it's the entry level SUV. Yeah. It probably drives like a tin can, which okay, but that's what they want you to come in to see the CX-3 and sell your CX-5. Okay. Just like they want.
They tried.
Yeah, but she should have because it was probably only $1,000 or a couple $1,000 more.
I don't remember. Probably because they got the GT, so probably yeah.
Oh, that was a complete mistake. Sorry.
Oh, it's gone now, anyways.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, it only lasted like a year.
Well, because they moved to Montreal.
Yeah. No, the CX-5. That's just the vehicle to bring you into the showroom. It's just exactly like the Fit. They make these cars not for you to buy them, for you to get into the showroom and sell you a Civic. Nobody buys a Fit or an HRV.
Mm-hmm.
So an HRV is there to sell you a CRV.
you'd be surprised how well HRVs are selling among that in that
That's
category.
because people are uninformed.
Well,
and the salespeople are not doing a good job telling these people to buy a CRV.
Think about compact SUV. People who are upgrading from a small car and they come in with the premonition already. I do not need a CRV. I do not need a mid-size SUV. I need something just a little bit higher than my car, and I want the cheapest thing possible. That's where the HRV falls in. Anyway, I agree. Like
with
build
my
quality,
sisters, they were not comfortable with driving a bigger SUV, which is not that much bigger. But they were going from always driving like my brother's car, which was a Golf GTI. Oh no, the Golf, yeah, GTI, and the CX-3 was just a little bit higher.
That's
any higher, they were a little bit uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
Granted, they were new drivers and young, so they don't really have an opinion. But
the cost is there too. I mean, it's a cheaper vehicle. That's what's going to make the biggest difference in most people's minds.
So what do you think about the CX-30? Did you see that at Geneva?
No.
It's between the CX-3 and the CX-5. Oh. Which I don't know how much more in between you can get.
Where do they have the cash flow to do this though? Like I've seen Mazda, they're opening up so many lines here. Where do they have the cash flow to do that? I don't see them selling cars. Like it's a very.
I think they have a niche group of enthusiasts like
like
that love the brand.
Right now, I'll tell you what I like from Mazda. I love the new Mazda 3. Despite our back and forth, wait.
So what's the conclusion there? Did you guys come to agree or disagree?
No, we're gonna stay disagreed on this, but it's fine because I respect Victor, and well, I mean, I'll let him give me kudos. But
I'm not gonna agree at any point.
But
the all-wheel drive Mazda 3 is comparable to a Civic.
I'm not asking you to agree, but show me some professional respect here and say
I do respect your opinion. Of course I do. Well, I don't know why we're shaking hands, but sure.
that means he agrees with me.
No, it doesn't. I'll never agree.
I'm gonna put an emoji over your face, and a peace and a sign.
I'll never agree that a Civic is better than a Mazda 3, two-wheel drive or all-wheel drive.
It can never be better than an all-wheel drive car. And I hope that
I'm saying the car line itself.
No, I hope that you didn't take that away from my argument there. My argument there was that the average consumer cross shopping these are not going to put the same weight on all-wheel drive that you are, simply because they're likely coming from a position.
Yes, I understand your point, but what I'm saying is you're not looking at the same demographic of people.
I'm looking at larger demographic.
You're looking at people who buy. I'm talking about buying an all-wheel drive vehicle.
Okay, but I'm looking at the larger demographic here.
Anyway,
that's what matters.
The whole point is mute because nobody should be building sedans anymore. So there you go.
Okay.
The whole point
Ford
is mute.
started with it.
But
the whole point is mute.
But as far as building
nobody
sedans,
wants a sedan.
What do they want? SUVs and
they
coupes?
Want SUVs. They don't even want coupes.
Well, I mean,
the majority of people.
People want.
That's my brother.
People want. For daily drivers, people want SUVs. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The sedan is dead.
Yes.
Now, they want an SUV to drive their kids and their family around, and then they want a sports car in the garage.
What about wagons?
Wagons got killed by the wooden wagons back in the day.
Shut the fuck. No,
wagons won't make a comeback.
The wood panel.
I want a wagon.
No, wagons won't come back.
Go live in Europe.
Because if you're gonna buy a wagon,
get wagons here.
People want the safety and the of an SUV.
Have you guys ever seen a TSX wagon?
You know why wagons exist?
No.
Okay, because we're putting that up on the video.
People wanted an enclosed pickup truck in the 80s.
Yeah,
and that's all they had. The technology wasn't advanced enough to come up with an SUV.
Isn't that kind of funny? It's like everyone wanted the idea of an SUV, an enclosed pickup truck, but we only had the K platform to work. Here's an
interesting question. What? Maybe I know this, and I'm not. What was the first SUV? Was it like a Jimmy or something from GM?
So the first SUVs
or the compact SUV, I should say.
I would say the first SUVs were from Chevy and Ford. They were their enclosed cab pickup trucks. They weren't luxurious at all. They were just trucks, steel like a box frame truck. Yeah. And they're having a huge comeback. People are buying into these because they're cool looking trucks.
I think I'd make an argument that the CRV was probably the first.
Like mass produced,
mass accepted SUV.
Yeah, and when you think about it,
before that, what was there?
Germany, there was nothing from Germany. The first. Do you remember when SUVs started coming out of BMW, Mercedes? We're talking first gen X5. That was their first SUV.
Could you say maybe
Porsche
the Jeep?
Cayenne?
I think the Porsche was before.
The Jeep was
not the Jeep YJ or that body style. I'm talking about like the Cherokee.
Yeah,
Jeep.
the Cherokee. Yeah, you know what?
Because that was in like the 90s, late 90s.
That was. But the CRV first came out in the 90s as well.
So they were around the same time.
So yeah, they would have been the same thing. But yeah, isn't it crazy to think back?
Do you remember when the Cayenne came out?
Yeah.
And everyone was like,
everybody laughed at it.
Porsche's they're going down.
Yeah.
We thought they were going out of business.
Yeah, they're just trying to sell more cars. Or they can't sell cars. Now they're making an SUV. Did you know you could get a V10? I think was it V10 or V8 with a manual in the Cayenne?
Really?
They sold those.
I didn't know that.
I think it was the V8. I don't think they put a V10 in it. But you get a V8 with a manual transmission in the first, I think, 1 or 2 years of the Cayenne production. It's a wooden. It's not a wooden shift knob, but it's really weird. I saw one on Auto Trader the other day, and it was sold at a premium because of it.
Yeah,
really.
But, yeah, think about that: a manual Porsche V8 in an SUV, all-wheel drive.
Interesting.
Cool. Yeah,
I saw an article yesterday from Car and Driver saying that Porsche is going down and they're done. I didn't read it. I just saw the headline. I've been meaning to read it, but that's
the influencer culture. If you're not driving a Tesla, then you're driving a Porsche. They're just too good looking, too competent on the road. There's too many good things about them.
I mean, there's the SUVs and those coupes or those whatever they are.
They just came out with a new SUV. They came to compete with the X6 and the G.
Yeah, no, Porsche will be around
GLE
for a
coupe.
while.
Oh yeah,
no, that's still a Cayenne. It's just a Cayenne,
but it's got the coupe.
It's just coupified.
Sorry, yeah,
they just redesigned its look, but that's just a Cayenne.
Well, but look at that market share. When the X6 came out, oh, what is this disgusting? Remember Jeremy Clarkson? Yeah. It's not good at anything. That's a terrible Jeremy Clarkson.
That's a terrible Jeremy Clarkson. Yeah,
the worst SUV in the world. Like that's
that's a little better.
Yeah, but now look at it. I mean, you're right. People want SUVs. They want good-looking SUVs. That's the sole reason my dad was interested in the GLE coupe, is because he thought it was a good-looking SUV.
Yeah.
So that's a huge market share right there. And we're here arguing about fucking front-wheel drive Civics. But we were going somewhere with this. I had to throw shade at you because the F-150
during the
F-150 limited 0 to 60 in 5.1 seconds.
Ooh, 0.1 seconds slower than the Raptor.
No, it's faster than the Raptor. The Raptor, so Ford rates the Raptor as the same 0 to 60 time, but no one could ever get that. They took the wheels off the Raptor and maybe cut like 800 pounds out of the weight to get it to do that. But the Limited,
it's to be expected.
I was reading an article. The Limited is the second fastest production truck ever because the SRT 10 from the early 2000s out of Dodge was the fastest.
Just wait till
the trap speed. The quarter mile time was a tenth of a second faster than the Challenger RT. So I have to ask you now.
You specifically looked at
if there ever was a battle between good and evil, good being twin turbo V6, evil being the V8, the antiquated V8. Obviously, there's a more performance variant, but I just like that there's a specific comparison here. What does this mean for the fact? Because the weight difference is totally different here. We're talking a truck. It's got the
how much
performance
does the
engine.
F-150 weigh?
You probably know that more than
I'd argue that the Charger weighs just the same.
No,
the F-150 is aluminum.
Here,
the Charger's all steel.
You check the Charger weight. I'll check the F-150.
What year is it?
2017.
150 limited. What's gross vehicle weight?
GVWR.
GVWR.
I'm gonna say they're close. 500 pounds at the most difference, and I'm gonna say the Charger's heavier.
Okay,
I'm gonna say the Charger's heavier.
Oh, that's the towing capacity.
Are we talking about a two-wheel drive F-150 or all-wheel drive? Four-wheel drive? They're all four-wheel drive?
We're talking about like a heavy F-150. Yeah, okay. So it's gonna be like with the glass roof and everything. Okay.
I'm gonna say they're close. I'm still 500-600 pounds at the most.
How much?
You have to remember, aluminum bodied F-150, nothing in the back. It's just a big empty box.
But it's still a truck.
It doesn't matter. It's aluminum built.
What about the frame?
The Charger has a frame. The Charger has a frame.
It's not box on frame like the.
Yes, it is. Well, okay, no, it's not. But it's still got a front and rear subframe, which is heavy. And it's got a V8.
It's a modern half-ton truck. You're going to tell me that it's...
But the V8 outweighs the turbo V6.
Hold on. Okay.
And the 8-speed transmission.
What displacement is your V8? 5.7?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, 3.5. So, I mean, like...
Do you have the weight?
It's cast iron. The
V8. Way empty but ready to drive.
That's very specific.
I know.
It's very specific.
Give me
I don't think I have mine that specific. No, go ahead, because...
Empty but ready to drive, 5,000. They say 5,000 plus pounds. So it's probably between 5,000 and 6,000
That's
pounds.
really heavy.
There's no way.
It's a fuck. Are you guys forgetting this is a half-ton truck? Like this is a truck.
The Charger is 42.64.
That sounds reasonable because my Accord Coupe is 38.
There's no way. You're wrong about that.
No, I'm not. Everything on this truck is meant to be heavy duty. It's not a heavy duty truck, but it's a half ton. Like these are not light vehicles. They don't make these light. Not to mention the Limited has 22-inch wheels on it.
How much did you say?
It says 5,000 plus here.
Oh, that's unbelievable to me.
Here, car and driver.
Saying 7,000 pounds here.
Okay, even
Like
worse.
That can't be. There's something wrong here.
Maybe towing
here.
Towing.
XLT.
Yeah,
No, let's do King Ranch.
Capacity, you're right.
King Ranch 5.5 box.
Yeah,
right?
max
No, it's not a King Ranch. You gotta look at the Limited.
Doesn't matter. It's got all the accoutrement. Weight information. Where does it say standard weight? No, that's not it. Curb weight. A-spec curb weight, gross axle weight, gross vehicle weight rating in pounds. Would you guys not say that's the thing to look for? Gross vehicle weight rating?
Don't you have it in the driveway? Why don't you just go look?
Put it on a scale, Anthony.
Hold on. Gross vehicle weight rating. Car and driver. Reputable source. 7,000 on the dot.
No, that's not right.
Is that including payload?
That's probably what it's capable of pulling.
Okay, its maximum payload capacity is 21.3, and curb weight. No.
This is a good podcast.
We're all just reciting specs.
Why is it so difficult to find
curb weight in pounds? Okay, is curb weight just
Payload.
the car itself? I think it's 48.6.
Okay, so here it is right here. A 2007 18 F-150 3.3 with a V6 is 4,069 pounds.
So 48.68.
F-150 curb weight examples. So the Raptor is 6,004 pounds.
That explains the 0 to 60 time difference.
So the Raptor probably weighs more because the rims are bigger, everything's big. The suspension.
Actually, it'd be tough to. That might be a cool thing to do for the Instagram, because your Raptor obviously has big tires but tiny wheels.
Which V6 is it? The EcoBoost or the
probably heavier.
TiVCT?
No, it's the EcoBoost. I don't even know what the TiVCT is.
So 4653.
Do they have a 4-cylinder
2018
F-150 now? That's got to be
F-150
or the diesel
3.5.
They have a
3.5
diesel and a
liter?
4-liter.
Yeah,
3.5.
High output.
Yeah.
So how much is the Charger?
42, I think you said.
No.
43.
Hold on, I'll go back.
I still think it's within 500 pounds.
It looks like it is.
What's the torque rating of the V6?
It's
42.64.
42.64, and this is 4,600. So I was right.
Well, I'm getting from the King Ranch model. I'm getting 48.68.
Well, it's not a King Ranch though.
But it has all the glass roof and everything of a King Ranch, and that weighs down the vehicle. Glass roof. It's also got larger wheels, 22-inch wheels.
But the engine is different. Does it make a difference? Wait, I don't think. Probably not. It's just tuned differently.
So 470 foot-pounds of torque for the EcoBoost. And what's the Charger? I don't even know.
Torque?
Yeah, 5.7 Hemi.
Well, I mean, we already got the 0 to 60 times. We know this is.
I just want to justify
395 pound-feet.
395, and I just said 450 for the
truck.
Yeah,
for the high output.
So they're gonna be the acceleration time is gonna be very, very close.
Yeah,
because the weight difference but there's just a little bit more torque.
Mm-hmm. So then, is this the definitive? Because I know speed is ridiculous when we talk about trucks, but speed is
the thing. It's a thing now.
Yeah, that is the unadulterated thing that everyone understands. So when you're selling an F-150, and you're saying that this is an EcoBoost, it's got to compete with the V8s from everybody else. Saying it's the fastest truck is going to make people put weight. Well, what do you think is going to be faster when they come out with
the Hellcat?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I don't know why people would care that my F-150 is going to out accelerate another truck.
You'd be surprised.
I
think. Do you want to have a conversation?
I want to be able
to
pull my. I want to be able to pull my 30-foot boat to the marina.
But then you'd be driving a heavy duty truck.
There is a culture, Vic.
Doesn't actually get used for work.
The same reason
I'm not buying an F-150.
The same reason you would want to pull on.
If I wanted
another performance sedan. That is a thing, man.
You're asking. I know, but the question on the table is: do I care that an F-150 out accelerates a Chevy Silverado?
No, but there is a huge demographic.
It's pretty satisfying when you're in a truck and the guy next to you is in a sports sedan and you're faster.
For sure. Also, there's a huge demographic of guys out there, like our friend Alex, like my dad, who, well, luckily enough, are on the same page of the book here. If Alex was driving a Hemi and my dad was driving the EcoBoost, then there'd be some bad blood. But no, there is a huge point of pride in having a truck that can outperform in any way, and speed is the easiest and most relatable rating of performance. That's it. You can't say like, oh, my truck can tow more because, like, yeah, the numbers say that. But speed is like, yeah, now I'm at a red light and this guy pissed me off. I'm gonna show him how fast I am.
Well, look, there's word that the next Raptor is gonna have the GT500 engine.
That's a smart move because they got the Hellcat motor.
Going back to a V8.
I think it's gonna be like a.
Didn't Ford just poo on V8s for the last 20 years because they said the EcoBoost is better?
But they're seeing the success of Dodge with the fun cars, not the cars for the future. Ford's building a future for their brand. Chrysler's kind of like putting the nails in their coffins.
Well, here now I'm gonna put this whole conversation to rest.
Go ahead.
These morons,
electric. I already know what's going on.
They are all not seeing the future here, and we need to concentrate on saving the earth and building electric cars. This is ridiculous.
How about Honda's electric prototype?
Anthony, I know you're rolling your eyes at me at the electric statement.
What do you know?
But that's a blanket.
I agree with you.
Okay.
I love electric.
Putting a Mustang engine in a Ford F-150 is not the 80s, for God's sakes. Let's get our heads out of our asses.
You like Chrysler for doing the same thing. How can you shit talk
I
Ford?
do. I'm shit talking all the domestics. And yes, there's always going to be a small percentage of morons like me that want to hear the throat of a V8, but they should. I don't care that Ford's putting the Mustang engine in. I want to hear this. Oh, we've come up with a battery that lasts.
I thought you were gonna go.
No, I want to hear Ford say we've come up with a battery that lasts 1,000 kilometers.
They will.
Then I'm gonna say, you know what? I want to know about that.
They will.
I don't care the Mustang engine.
That little niche market that they're selling these high-powered trucks to.
But that's what SVT is for.
It gets customers.
I know, but what I'm saying is, yes, they should build that Mustang-powered F-150 and call it an SVT and make it limited production.
Yeah.
And say, yeah, you want an SVT-powered Ford? Yeah, we'll. But you know what we have in the showroom? An electric F-150.
Yeah.
It's going to take you 1,000 kilometers.
I think they will. It's just going to take them longer than like the Europe.
Well, it's going to take longer because they're concentrating on a SVD engine in a Ford F-150.
This is the thing. A lot of people would say Ford is probably going to be poised to be the first one with an electric truck, but I disagree because they've put so much of their funding into turbocharging, where the other brands, Dodge, Chevy, they've been putting their money into refining their V8s, which obviously costs a lot less. Now, maybe Ford has quite a bit more cash flow because they have the best-selling vehicle in the world, bar none, and that's only in one continent. But I think that it's going to either be Chevy or GM GM or Chrysler to come out with the electric truck first because they need a replacement for the V8. I mean, the V8s are great, but they need a replacement for it. People, as the F-150 just gets more fuel efficient, more powerful, because you can extract more power from a twin-turbo V6 in a more fuel-efficient way than you can from a naturally aspirated V8. And they're not going to twin-turbo these V8s. They're not AMG. So I don't think the reliability would be there for towing and hauling to twin turbo the V8. Also, that would increase the price dramatically. Look at how much twin turbo V8s cost from Mercedes and McLaren. Like, granted, they're different engines, but there's no way that's exotic technology. We used to say twin turbo V6s were exotic when the GTR first came out.
Yeah. But
it's more accessible for a manufacturer like Ford. So I don't know where I was going with that, but I don't think it's going to be Ford to have the first electric truck.
No, but that's not my point. My point is we're lagging behind. We're 10 years.
Well,
we're 20 years into the year 2000.
They move glacially slow.
When I was a child, okay.
There we go.
Okay. Back when I was a child, okay, I remember them telling me about the year 2000. And it was going to be so great. But you know what? It's just exactly the same as 1999.
But Vic, let me ask you.
We're 20 years behind.
I have the benefit of not having all, like, did it ever move that fast? The computer technology sped up.
Anthony, we've been messing with internal combustion since 1885.
Do you know how long the Middle Ages took to pass?
Know.
Like, in
the Middle Ages, it took them an hour to move a rock a foot.
Okay, but
I mean, we're in a different time.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. In the scale of human engineering, we have never seen a faster time of engineering and moving. Look at Tesla. I put this in the story.
I didn't want to bring up Tesla because I know I'm a Tesla fanboy. But
you're not that bad.
I was talking to Eric that my next car is going to be a Tesla.
It's going to be a Tesla.
You would need a Tesla for what you'd need something for.
I want my next car to be a Tesla, like a used Tesla.
I wouldn't mind having Vanessa in a Tesla that I can drive on the weekends. I'll say that. Yeah. I still want to be behind the wheel of a manual car. That's me right now.
You sound older than me.
I enjoy it. I enjoy driving.
So that's why you had that as your Sunday car.
Yeah, no, I would want to commute. I'd want to commute in a manual car as long as I can.
When it can drive you there.
Because I enjoy driving. That's it. Every day, no matter how shit my day is.
Driving. And you don't think driving a Tesla would be fun?
It'd be fun, driving, yes. Like the torque and the speed would be fun. But, driving insurance rates.
Driving to work is going to be relegated to automation.
Yeah.
On the weekends, I'll take out my big block Camaro and I'll have fun. That's what's going to happen. It's ridiculous that we're still driving ourselves to work. That we need to get to work. In fact, listen, don't get me started. We shouldn't even have to be going to work, which I made my point last time on the podcast.
You can work.
We have enough.
Talk about that.
We have enough internet speed and enough technology that we can just stay home, and we should be staying home and making all these buildings.
I don't want to get too philosophical here.
Go ahead.
I don't want to get too philosophical.
I'm going on a tangent.
What you're no, we're all about tangents here. Yeah. I said it in the.
I think we're going on the 3 hour zone.
No, we're only at an hour and a half.
Oh, that's it.
That's
okay, that's not.
Not to get too philosophical here, but I'm gonna poise this in the Tesla mind frame. Even though I'm really attacking what you said there about we should all be able to work from home. There's a part of the human element where we are in evolution that requires interaction with both people and operating devices. There's a part of our human element. Have you ever seen WALL-E?
Listen to me.
Have you ever seen WALL-E?
Yes.
No.
Yes. I've seen the movie. Yes.
I know it's a kid's movie, but it is a real problem when you take away interactive things for people.
But Anthony, I'm not talking about taking away interaction. If I want to come to your house and socialize, I can do that. Yeah. I'm talking about going to work. There's no need for me to go to an office and interact with my employees or fellow employees. There's no need for that. I just need to do whatever I need to do to make the world go round, produce whatever we need to produce. Obviously, things still have to be made, and you need people to do that. I don't need to go to a job to do that. We can take these spaces that are completely wasted downtown, all these skyscrapers, all this maintenance, all this stuff being used, and just get rid of it all and go back to a simpler time. We have the technology. We have the internet. We don't have to be there. Maybe in the 70s, 80s, 90s, I need to be there. I don't need to be there now. I want to interact with my friends. I can still do that. I'm not talking about never interacting with people. I'm saying we have to make a workforce that we sustain life, that we can have less work time and more fun. Make it more like Star Trek. Sorry to be a nerd.
Speaking of Star Trek, can we get a shot of your smartwatch here? That is the most Star Trek smartwatch I've seen, and I'm surprised they didn't stick with that design going forward. But let me key into what you're saying there.
Get my point,
I agree. But what you actually said it there. I don't know if you knew you were saying it about the balance.
Yes.
Okay. And that's what I'm saying about technology in cars. There's got to be a balance. If you totally remove, and we can already see it with people driving automatic cars, a lot of the incidences out there, and I know I've been in this situation personally. When you remove a lot of the driver involvement in driving a car until you can fully remove it and just make them a passenger, so we're not calling them drivers anymore. But when you still have someone operating some things in a car, we're at a point now where people are paying less and less attention. Look how big of a push they made for distracted driving, because it's never been easier to be distracted. The car, you can take your wheels off the car. Even a regular car with no, Civics and Mazdas now keep you on the road for like 15 minutes with no input on the steering. All you got to do is tap the steering wheel a few times just to let it know you're there. So when they talk about distracted driving is a problem, no shit, it's a fucking problem. You don't need to drive cars anymore.
But if it's totally automated, there is no distraction.
Okay.
Exactly.
So until then, we need a balance.
There
has to be a cutting point where it's one way or the other.
Yeah.
We have
until then.
We have to focus as a society towards the one goal, which is automation. People behind the wheel, we're driving enthusiasts, but we're not 80% of the population that just get in their car or have to go to Fortino's while sending an email or putting up a tweet or doing an Instagram or whatever the hell they want to do. For those people, we need automation.
I agree.
Because they want to go to Fortino's and buy their food. Again, forget about Fortino's. Or go wherever they're going, because Fortino's, they should just deliver. But that's a different story. The point is that For us, we want to drive. That's different. But we have to cater to the 80 or 85% of the society that does not want to drive, that's too busy to drive. They're distracted, causing accidents, killing people. Look at that bus that went into that house that just happened.
Did they say that was?
Yes, the TTC driver fell asleep, whatever happened. If that bus was automated, and again, we have the technology to do it, that wouldn't have happened. And there's countless other things that wouldn't have happened.
Well, the Humboldt accident is the
robots don't make mistakes. People do.
And even if they do, there's always going to be a small percentage of computer error or what. Computers are not perfect either, but they're more perfect than humans because they have a task and they just repeatability. That's the advantage of computing and automation. Repeatability. You give it a program and that's all it's going to do.
I could argue, which I do agree with you, but I could argue
Don't be afraid to challenge Vic.
That with automation, especially nowadays with like companies like Facebook, Apple, they work on automation that can learn and teach itself.
Right.
Now with that, they found that by teaching itself, it creates more errors. Although it can also create algorithms that can solve those errors.
That's also the plot of every sci-fi horror movie ever.
Right.
But what I mean by... yes, teaching itself is fine, but its base program is always going to be to drive from wherever, Finch to friggin' wherever the hell the bus goes. Yep. Like it's always going to be, yes, it's going to learn eventually the roads or whatever, accelerate here, accelerate there, but it's not going to lose its base. It's not going to drive into a house.
If everything is automated, it will work perfectly. You will have no traffic because all the cars will change speed to move through the lights at the same time. Everything would be perfect.
But
you need everything to be perfect.
The aviation industry,
not true, though.
The aviation, these planes fly themselves. The planes land themselves. They take off by themselves. The pilot is just there for a fail-safe. That's all the pilot has become.
The idea that automation will solve traffic is false because
that's not true.
The problem, okay, hold on. Traffic is bigger than just what you're thinking right now.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Hold on. The end thing with the biggest problem with traffic is the rate the amount of time it takes for each individual car to speed up and slow down. Sure. Even if you could link them like a train, still the amount of time to speed up and slow down is a problem.
It would not be a problem because all the cars would be interconnected.
You would think
and everything would move at the same rate, allowing them to...
As that happens, so does everything else moves exponentially. The number of cars, the number of people also increases exponentially. And I think what we have to focus on is personal, either carpooling. You have to find a way to remove vehicles from the road or change capacity of vehicles on the road. That's the only thing that we can not infinitely. What's it called? The only thing that we can adjust 100% is the amount of space we take up on the road because that's a fixed number.
I don't.
Braking
really
speed, acceleration speed is always going to affect. Well, okay, I've looked into traffic.
So
that's how
go ahead. You want to make your point, and then I'll make mine.
Go ahead.
So I'll make my point. My point is, Anthony, the reason traffic exists is because everybody's on their own agenda.
100%.
Okay, so let me finish. Everybody's accelerating and braking at a different point. Everybody's either doing on their phone or talking to somebody in their car. If you eliminate all that and cars are just driving down the road, there won't be any traffic. Traffic exists because people are morons.
I wish
simply if you have traffic and someone's trying to merge in, everyone behind slams on their brakes. Two people accelerate forward.
Exactly.
If these two cars on the right hand lane know that this car is coming on the ramp, they'll adjust accordingly and let that guy in.
Exactly.
Autonomously.
Computers will not be the guy behind the wheel that's going to be like, you know what, there's a car beside me. I'm going to move forward and I'm going to get ahead of him, or I'm going to, that's what causes traffic. Computer will just say, okay, there's an opening. Or it'll slow down to go behind the other cars, or it'll accelerate if there's an opening.
The infinite number of variables, are what lead traffic congestion.
Yeah, but
computers can eliminate that.
But the core there, and this is my point. I'm not saying that it won't aid traffic. From the beginning of our conversation, I said it would aid, but it is not the full thing. We have to redesign the material space we take up for transportation. That's it. And if that's carpooling, I personally think that. The motorcycle package, because first of all, bicycles are a miracle. We still don't know how bicycles really work, how we're able to keep ourselves upright on bicycles.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, but here's the thing: 2 wheels. How someone invented that and came up with positioning 2 wheels, putting a human in front and propulsion from the center it still puzzles engineers.
Why?
Is it not as simple as balance?
It's how the human body is able to do that. I'm telling you, man.
We walk upright, for God's sakes. What are you talking about?
No,
because when you're a baby, it's all about your equilibrium.
Oh my God. they are still trying to understand how bicycles were come about and how they work so well. It's the most.
I'm so confused.
No, Anthony, bicycles came about because the horse was too slow, and they said, "I'm going to make a bike and go forward." That's
so
what
how
happened.
How did they know to articulate
wheels were
with
already
power
invented?
Plant? Obviously, they had wheels, but to know that that it would be as efficient as of right now, the bicycle is the most efficient mode of transportation. It takes kinetic energy from your body in the most in the best way. From circular rotation of your feet.
Sure.
Longest travel. Walking is this.
I understand.
Circular rotation, longest travel, and turns it into kinetic energy that spins a wheel.
Agreed.
Anyway,
fine.
So
why is it still the most complex? Why can engineers
I
not
read
understand?
something about this in university that it was
well,
like
whoever wrote that
they
was
were
a
still
cuck.
baffled at how they came up with it.
Look at unicycles. It's balance and like you said,
unicycles
equilibrium.
aren't as efficient. Unicycles they don't work as well.
Okay.
So have you ever tried to steer on a unicycle? Anyway,
I don't know what you're saying.
My point is
delete that.
No, please. I hope I can get a traffic specialist and bike
Everybody
engineer
comment.
on here.
People comment below if they know what the hell Anthony's talking about.
I'd be if you genuinely find that article that states that, I'd be interested.
I'm gonna find it. I gotta.
Yeah,
find it.
I need to see this article.
When it comes to personal
the bike is the
transportation,
most complex form of transportation.
it is
Even
because it
saying
challenges what
it
we
doesn't
think of.
challenge anything.
It does.
It's
Oh my
ridiculous.
god. Okay. Anyway, when it comes to personal transportation, I think that for the future,
This explains your
100
lap time at K1
Get
now.
the hell out of here. I think
Tier
100
3.
years from now, the size of vehicle that we have, it won't exist on the modern scale, especially in the cities. It's going to be single person or two person sitting in line methods of
look at the
transportation.
concepts they had at Geneva with all the electric vehicles. They're sedan-sized vehicles are a little bit larger with big open spaces with round benches and whatnot for your whole
Right when
family.
you said that, I got to the Morgan. The Morgan Plus 6. If I can just show you guys this. It's like a car from the 1920s, but obviously brand new. Right when you said that. This is from Geneva.
You remind me more of Captain Slow every day.
James May. James May is a fantastic
Shout
human
out to
being.
James May.
So
I think we found your brother.
Hey, well, hold on. You've always said that about me.
That's a James
but
May
what you fail
point.
to realize is that I had 3 mentors growing up: James May, Jeremy Clarkson, and Richard Hammond. I have the best parts of all 3 of you, and that's
I
the
disagree.
important thing.
I think you're
Because you're
James
all
May
Jeremy. That's
spawn.
why you would disagree. You're all Jeremy.
Listen, nobody would agree. I'm still baffled by your bicycle point. You're the type of guy who would buy that Morgan and say that it's modern.
It looks so cool. It is.
Of
It
course
is.
it
It
does.
is. It's traditional.
Right.
No, but I honestly think our biggest problem is space. It's space. It's what we need.
No, I disagree. It's
Okay.
the human factor.
Sorry, yeah, the human factor is also a big problem. I can't deny that. But when we think about 100 years down the road in big cities, you won't see like the whole idea of streets was created to get people in and out of the cities. The cities were built before the cars were there, and we turned these streets from horse and buggy dirt roads into paved.
I think we're
intersections.
not forward. Again, I'm going to go back to my point that those cities were created in a time where we had to go to the city. If you forward think, if you use your mind, use your imagination, those cities don't need to exist anymore. We're going toward a society that does not require the big city. We are interconnected by the internet. That is now the modern highway, the city of the 50s and the 60s. We're still thinking old technology still. We have to get rid of roads, get rid of buildings downtown. There's no need for it anymore. We're just not thinking enough forward. We have to think forward, like Tesla, like Tony Stark, like Star Trek.
Speaking
That's
of
what we
those
have to
guys,
think of.
Have you seen that new company called Gravity?
No.
Since 2016 he's been building. He holds the record for fastest self-propelled. What would you call it? Not levitation, personal flying machine. He has 1 jet engine on his back, and it's 3 jet engines that go into 1 outlet on his back, and then I think 2 on each hand. If I can I'll pull up a video right now, and we got to show this. This I think has some real weight to be the future of transportation as well. And guess what? Those jet engines you think would be like gravity? Hold on, jet suit. You think it would be dangerous, but he said the heat dissipates so fast. Like if you use the example of a blow dryer, if you put a blow dryer right up to your scalp, you'll burn yourself. But if you hold it from here, nothing happens. The same thing with the jet. Air is such a bad conductor of heat that if the jet is blowing from this far away, it may, worst case scenario, singe your clothing because you're operating these jets with your hands. Let me show.
I think we're still years away from having flying people.
Well,
until we perfect another form of propulsion.
This is, in my opinion, I think like this is Tony Stark. But real life. If I can just go through here, Mikey, we're gonna have to show. How much do you think these suits cost?
1,000. I don't know.
440,000 right now.
Really?
Yeah. Dude, like he's not even going hard right now because he's on land. On water, they can
F-150.
Go. Yeah, and a 488 for some inexplicable reason. I think he's gonna race it. Look how the ease. You just hop up and you're gone.
I don't know if that has any merit, to be honest.
If you can make this package smaller, dude. This is. Did you ever think you'd live to see a day where he's flying?
Yeah. He's
personal, like with his body. Sure, he's an athlete. You have to have like very good core strength.
We're probably 100 years away. That's
100 years away from daily.
That's still a novelty. Yeah.
I think it'll remain a novelty, but I don't know about 100. I think given the rate of technology, if they can perfect an electric motor that can create propulsion the same way a jet can, the possibilities are.
Well, that's the question. How long is that going to take?
Batteries are the biggest problem.
Yeah.
And look what Elon Musk has been able to do in 10 years with batteries.
Yeah, but is it the battery technology or is it the efficiency of his engine? That's what the question is.
That I don't know. I always assumed it was his battery technology.
Well, everybody does, but is that true? We don't know. Because alkaline batteries can only be so efficient. It doesn't matter. We don't have the technology right now to make them.
That's what he said. He said the batteries, if he can make whatever you want, but they're super, super expensive. To get it to a consumer level is another story.
Yeah. Well, that's why we need everybody to be concentrating on one thing.
Well, we're also forgetting about the other thing he said was the future: tunnels.
Underground.
I like how that it just the word tunnels just sounds so funny, but it does seem like an antiquated method of like transportation because you think of like dungeons or technically tunnels, and under like old cities like London, there's a thing of tunnels. Sewers have been around forever, but if you think about the easiest and most accessible way of transporting people in a third dimension, it's tunneling. Like
he said not to go up, to go down.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's crazy.
Anyway, do we have anything else?
Which we totally forgot, which I thought we were going to translate between F1 and Geneva.
Oh my
Vic's
God!
time.
Yeah, Vic. We had Vic on the sim. Oh my gosh. Well, in that case, we should probably just play his lap right now.
There's nothing going on. I know. Usually a long lap is a fast lap. Yeah, you're doing very well, man. You're glued to that track. Your lines are impeccable. Big, here you go. Come on, finish strong. The whole time I didn't want to talk. I shut my mouth so you got a good lap time. I'm letting it all loose now. Felt good. I think that's our fastest lap of all time.
We're back to the podcast. So, Vic, after doing that, those 3 hot laps, We put Vic in like full sim mode. The only thing I think you had off was damage. Damage was not realistic, but you had no driver aids. For Brandon, I think we had
everything.
No, not everything. He didn't have traction control, of course, but he had not assisted braking, but he had ABS. You had nothing. Or maybe you just had low ABS, but you had
a manual transmission.
And a manual transmission with a manual clutch as well. So how do you think your laps went?
I mean, it felt good. I'm new to project cars. The car felt good. I mean, I've done my fair share of sim racing.
I was going to say, you're not new to sim.
It took me a few laps to get used to the car itself, how it drove. But other than that, I mean, it felt like I was doing fairly well. I think I probably need a good hour to get a very competitive lap time out of it. Okay. I think I left about a second or two on the table.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you surprised me, and a lot of your potential times you were knocking. Like, it would say potential time, then you would do a time better. But right now, our leaderboard is not the most competitive. Joe did not set the best lap time of 2 minutes 24, but it was also his first time, and he chose to drive manual, which is difficult. Yeah. Because he not only is he, driving a skilled thing, he's also trying to drive on a track, which is not easy.
Driving a sim is all visual. There's no seat of the pants feeling at all.
Exactly,
so it takes a long time to get used to.
Yeah, and the timing as well of the gear shift. So there was that. Brandon, while in automatic, hadn't had too much time in a sim, and he got a little bit more of a competitive time. He got under 2 minutes.
152.560, I think.
Yes, or 153. Either way, it was in the low 150s. But Victor, are you ready for your time?
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Are you?
Yes.
Okay. Ready?
I'm on the edge of my bike seat.
It's
you had a time of
1:39.390.
1 minute 39.390.
I guess we'll have to see how long it stands at the top.
It'll be there for a while.
No, we've met a few people who claim to be proper sim, or who do practice on sim. Obviously, Hugo Stiglitz still has yet to put a time, but that's more because Hugo Stiglitz is rarely ever home. He's usually busy studying in methods of
understanding how a bike
balance.
Yes. So once Hugo Stiglitz puts down a time, then we will probably have a more competitive leaderboard, at least something to compare you to. But as of right now, you are our hot lap leader. Congratulations, Vic.
Thank you.
Our regular person in a reasonably fast car leader. So after I say congratulations to you, now I also want to tell you why you guys are idiots for not listening to me earlier about the bicycle situation. Scientists, this is directly from a very knowledgeable website, a very accredited website, explainthatstuff.com. Scientists have been puzzling over what makes bicycles balance since they were invented back in the 19th century. However, in 2007, a group of engineers and mathematicians led by Nottingham University. Have you ever even been to Nottingham, Vic? No. Nottingham University's J.P. Milliard announced they finally cracked the mystery with a set of incredibly complex mathematical equations that explain how a bicycle behaves. And it turns out that gyroscopes are only part of the story. According to these scientists, who use 25 separate parameters or variables to describe every aspect of a bicycle's motion, there's no single reason for a bicycle's balance and stability, as they say.
Anthony, you know what I can explain? That all our complete audience has now left the building. So just let's move on with this bike balance nonsense.
Bikes are the future.
We all know why bikes balance. It's our equilibrium in our brain. It's the same reason why we walk. But carry on.
Okay, that's not right. But anyway, we'll let you have that one. We'll let you have that one, so it's fine. I want to see you on a bike.
Tips over right away.
Everybody push the like button, not the dislike after that discourse, please.
Mikey, what were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say, they're probably right. There probably is some weird unexplanation of it, but I don't know, it's just dumb anyways.
It's not dumb, man. This is science and engineering combined, okay?
Okay.
Oh my God, I'm sorry that you guys didn't grow up with James May in the back of your head, telling you what stuff was cool. You know he built a Lego house?
Wow, cool, James.
Nobody cares.
Oh my God! Oh, you guys are gross. You're influencers, clearly.
Right. We're trying to gain followers here, not lose them, Anthony.
I'm trying to gain knowledge here, Victor.
Right.
But anyway, we have anything else that we were gonna have to go over this podcast? So. Oh, it's been a very entertaining one for sure. Yeah. Thank you, Vic, for sharing your opinions, no matter how wrong or misleading they were.
Wrong according to who?
But science. But
right.
what we do have to look forward to, and do have to look forward to having you back on the podcast for, is this upcoming Formula One season. Yeah. Maybe we'll do a mid-season podcast or maybe end-of-season podcast. I'm really interested to see how the field lays out. We kind of already have our preconceived notions about who's going to take the championship, but I think it's going to be a really competitive midfield this year. Hoping so. That driver change-up is definitely going to lead to that. Also, next time you come, I want you to bring your array of smartwatches. That's something we didn't really get to talk about today, but of all the people I know, Vic probably knows the most about smartwatches, even more than Mikey. I
know nothing about smartwatches.
Well, I mean, you know what? For someone who's so into technology, you're not really big on the smartwatch thing right now.
No.
Are you like me? Are you waiting till they can just like sort of use?
Nope.
No. Okay. Well, you sent me something that we never had a chance to talk about on the podcast.
Well, which was?
It was a Korean company or a Chinese company who made a big screen that sort of wraps around your wrist.
Yep.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah. We'll post it. You remember what the name of it was?
I can look it up.
Okay. We're gonna post an image of it now. Still though, they had perfected the wrapped screen, right, or the flexible screen, but I don't know if they had really perfected the interface, the size. There's other things that people aren't too enthused about at the moment.
But I think the foldable screen it's not perfected, but it's good enough that it can be released to the public. And
wasn't it Samsung who's releasing an actual?
Well, Samsung did release one, but the form factor is a little odd. Huawei actually released a foldable phone that looks like a smartphone when it's folded. Looks like a current smartphone when it's folded. And when you unfold it, it's an 8-inch tablet. So
wow.
It's going to be the next iteration of smartphones will definitely be wearable.
100%. It has to be.
It has to be.
We're going to be looked at like you
now
can
that
see right now.
Yeah, now that they're folding screens, that's coming.
Yeah. This is our kids are going to laugh at us.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, like what were you doing holding this pack of gum in your pocket and making
the only thing holding us back was the screen size. And now that you can put a full screen around your wrist and interact with it just like this, type on it, it's going to be big enough, then that's going to be the new norm.
100%. That has a curved screen, which probably came out when the S6 Edge was released.
This is 2014.
Wow, look at that. Yep. 2014 technology still looks modern. I think it looks more modern than your current smartwatch.
I agree. I don't know why they went away from this.
I'm surprised I think Apple hasn't tapped into that yet.
I don't think people are ready for it. I think people still look at this and say, well, what the hell is that?
It's a little bit, it's not what people are expecting. It basically is a shrunken phone screen.
That's exactly how they marketed it.
Yeah.
So when this was out, the Galaxy Note 4 was out, and they said you can just put a Note 4 on your wrist, and it does everything.
People still wanted they wanted this. They wanted to, you know, the form factor, the style, and unfortunately, like as good as that is, it's not a stylish thing. Really, it's more form.
It's too far ahead.
Yeah,
people don't like that. Like you look at history, even with vehicles and automobiles. Like the Tucker was far ahead of its time. The DeLorean was far ahead of its time. The Tucker is a great story. You should look that up instead of the Equilibrium bicycle. The Tucker was a car.
Tucker?
The car was conceived of in the 40s. It had a crash zone. It had a soft bumper. Had a soft dash pad. It had an engine in the back. Had 3 headlights. A movable headlight in the front. You know, he was way ahead of his time. But the big 3 killed him. Put him out of business. Same thing with John DeLorean.
And the electric car. The GM's EV1.
The EV1 was put away by GM because Exxon was on their back. But those two car stories you should look up. John DeLorean and Tucker, the Tucker story. It's awesome.
Interesting.
But anyway, my point of those 2 cars was when you give the public something so far advanced, they usually rebel against it and say, "Well, we don't understand this. We can't have it. Get it out of here."
It doesn't fit into everyone's popular idea of
that's why they have to spoon feed us. So, like, especially now with the transition to electric cars, they're spoon feeding us slowly. They're saying, "Here, look, this car looks like a gas car, but it's electric," and that's what they're doing. Eventually, the form factor will completely change. We don't need a hood anymore. It'll just be like a dome or whatever.
Hey, anyway. That's a pretty Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Engine compartments are. I mean, that's what the hood was for.
Yeah,
it's
for the engine.
They don't do anything. It just takes up more. It's more storage, but you don't need it. Huh.
No, there'll just be a crumple zone in front of you.
Mhm.
There'll be a crash zone, and that's it.
For sure.
But public can't handle all that advancement all at once, so they just give it to us slowly.
Exactly.
You know.
Wow, you're a philosophizer of sorts.
Okay, bicycle
Well,
man.
thank you, Victor. I'm sorry to say that our friendship is over after this podcast.
Why do you say that?
See, you had a dream last night.
we're shaking hands
we
again.
are shaking hands again.
All right.
I'm a touchy-feely
Shaking
guy.
hands
You had a
again.
dream last night that our friendship was over. Now your
Yeah.
friendship is over.
I
too.
know.
What
Oh my
the
God,
heck's going
I'm
on?
just cutting people, man. Like,
Oh my
snip,
God.
dude. No, but honestly, it has been an absolute pleasure. I think I speak for both of us saying that you're always a shining star to have on the podcast. I'm not saying that facetiously. I'm being 100% serious.
It's always enjoyable coming here.
Thank you.
I listened to your podcast from the first day, and I love listening to it. I listen to it all the time, and to be on here is just I know it's a small thing, but for me, it's a big thing.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this very informative and entertaining episode. Next week we come back with some scientists from Geneva.
Or next time.
I was like, we don't even have anything scheduled.
Sorry, not next week. I was getting too into like the talk show host thing here. No. We'll see you guys when we have some more content.
Yeah, when we see you.
When we see you. Thanks again. Check us out on Instagram at TimeLaps Podcast and YouTube. Mikey, I'll let you shout us out on YouTube. Because I don't know what our YouTube channel is. It just TimeLaps Podcast?
Yeah, just search TimeLaps Podcast. It might come up
Podcast.
now. I don't know.
Okay. And if you
Before
want,
it didn't.
and if you want to race me,
it's in Instagram in the link.
if you want to race me in go karts, come check me out Wednesday nights at K1 Karting.
Yeah, you don't have to be
I'll
that
be-
fast.
We'll see. We'll see. Wait till I get to that second tier. Okay. Hey, whatever. We'll see.
All right. I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys.